kill you.
And welcome to Thursday night Trek night on Nerd Fights, I guess.
Thursday night Nerd Fights.
Indeed.
So, Trek night. We need something. What do we call Trek night?
Well, I was going to say, I was going to suggest Star Wars Wednesdays for The Mandalorian. I'll brainstorm something for Thursdays.
Yeah.
Hey, check this out. I got this for free. Isn't this cool? It's the actual hat. I mean, not the actual hat, but like it's a
Strongest Avenger.
It's a nice hat, though. You know what I mean? So, like, I'm gonna rock this when next. Like that thing's cool.
Well, you just got to grow the beard now, and you look like Fat Thor.
Yeah, I know, right? Thanks for that. Yeah, no, my doctor. Yeah, no shit, doctor. My doctor. What was it? Monday told me I had to go on a diet or something, lose some weight. It was,
my doctor's been pestering me about losing weight for a long time.
Well, I have to lose 20 pounds so I can have the hip replacement surgery I need, because it's a load-bearing joint. They won't do it if you're over a certain BMI.
Right.
And I am now, so apparently, yeah, I gotta lose 20 pounds.
So first of all, let me say hi to everybody on the chat.
So thanks for bringing that up, man. Why are you always doing this to me?
Captain Phantom Nerd was first in the house. Good to see Captain Phantom Nerd. Miss Moneypenny early in the house. Good to see you, ma'am. Here to make sure your son doesn't get in too much trouble. Good luck. The Trek reviewer is here. 47 Yorktown is here. Bird O Prey 5 Kapla, my friend. Mike Richards, the only good thing to come out of Columbus, Ohio. I still maintain that. BK Dan is here with his stack o' whoppers to get him through the night. Substance D is here. Gorilla's Random Thoughts, random as always. Some idiot named the Dork Knight is here. Some IT guy always getting me into trouble is here. Chief Cook, with some really ugly avatar, is here. Bird says he wants Dork Knight to be drug tested before we begin.
Hey, can we get a na 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 hey goodbye? You don't see Thomas Potts. You heard about Discovery today, right? They announced that season 5.
Well, that's what we were just going to talk about. So season 5 will be the final season of Discovery, which is all the more reason why we will be covering season 5 on Nerd Fights.
I mean, well, then I'll take a hiatus.
No, you will not take a hiatus.
I'm not watching Discovery.
Yes, you are.
That means I have to go back and watch from where I left off, and I do not want to do that.
You don't have to. You could just pick up on season 5,
and then
I'll fill you in on
stuff to me. God,
just take as little of the nasty as you have to, but it's like Buckley's mixture. It tastes terrible.
Jason and I will be happy to fill you in.
Wait, what?
Oh, man.
Season 2, bud.
Yeah, well, you're going to have to watch it too, Jason. So, yes, season 5 will be the end of Discovery. I do think, honestly, we have some signs here that Paramount is beginning to wake up to.
Well, that's because they're running out of money.
No, well, the what the fans want. That if you look at the direction Picard is moving, if you look at Strange New Worlds, if you look at Lower Decks, if you look at the stuff that Star Trek is producing in the since the Paramount takeover,
yeah,
it becomes more and more clear that they are. They do seem to understand the fandom. Paramount seems to understand the fandom better than CBS did.
I would argue straight up, considering the fact that they made and released Top Gun, that Paramount understands who actually butters their bread.
Right.
Exactly. But I mean, it was just announced. I'll have to find the article. I'll share it with you. That they're also hemorrhaging money because, like.
By the way, we have a surprise guest host just for Dork Knight. And so Dork Knight's cuddle buddy, Darren Wagner, is going to be joining us today. So this will be fun.
Sorry,
The
I
great
thought,
beard of the galaxy.
Yeah.
I thought my condo meeting was tonight, and then they postponed it. So
Okay.
I whatever they call it. I said I was going to rain check it, and then I'm rain checking it.
Yeah.
10 years ago, this would have been like me looking in a mirror. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, that's a compliment since I'm quite a bit older than you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah.
I was I look way younger than I used to, and I looked way older than I was when I had the
Yeah. Well, let's see what I can do with it here.
Well,
I know that Danny just wants to snuggle up in that beard.
I just miss my beard. That's all.
Lots of chicks do.
Cut it off.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that too. But,
I don't think Danny quite caught that.
That's fine.
All
I
right.
did, because lots of chicks dug my beard, and so I was saying that's one reason for me to miss it. But I told the story, right? Why I had to cut it off was the heart attack, and I puked in the beard, and I had the
Okay, TMI. We don't need to know about you.
Yeah, you've told this already, and it doesn't need to be brought up every time you see me.
Okay.
I don't want to hear about you puking in your beard. I really don't.
Sorry, memories.
No offense. I just, that's not a story I want to hear.
I'm gonna try to leave you alone tonight, Dork Knightly. Don't tempt me though. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So today we're going to be talking about episode 4 of Star Trek Picard. Now, I got to give them credit. This is the furthest they've gotten into a Star Trek Picard season without completely dropping the ball. So, hey,
I would argue this is the best episode so far.
Well,
it really is, in my opinion. Anyway,
I would not make that argument, but I would say that they haven't completely screwed the pooch yet. I do have some issues with this episode, which we'll get into, but there are also some fun moments in this episode that I really enjoyed. Anyway, we'll get into it. So 17 seconds is the episode. It was the 17 seconds reference was definitely not what I was hoping when we talked about it last week, where I was hoping the entire episode would revolve around a 17-second maneuver. Obviously, that was not it.
Come on, man. That's some Galaxy Quest stuff. I thought this was once you found out why, I thought it was a very good title, because especially when they call back to it at the end where Picard is on the turbo lift. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah.
I thought it was okay, but I still think that, my idea was better.
Well, that's just hubris, man. I get it. It's all good.
No, it's just correctness. All right, so
opinion.
After the previously on stuff, we start out with a little bit of ship porn where we see the Titan being pursued by the
You actually missed, there's a really beautiful shot of it from underneath, but it's okay. You don't have to. I already got my jollies off on it. Or I've watched this episode a couple times already.
I'm sure you did. But anyway, so we get this barrel roll, and as it goes into the nebula, and so that's this, and they do this kind of shot several times throughout the episode.
That's a signature of Jonathan Frakes. The second I saw the barrel roll, I knew, and the way they introduced Worf, I immediately knew that Jonathan Frakes directed this episode.
Well, I'll talk about the Jonathan Frakes direction in just a minute, because there's a couple of things about Jonathan Frakes direction that I like, a couple of things that I didn't. The barrel roll is something that I definitively didn't.
No, I agree with you, because
Starship should not barrel roll.
I literally said to the TV, it's like, damn it, Frakes, you ever gonna shake that? Because he's been doing that all the way since TNG when he directed. Right. It's in First Contact. It's in everything he directs. It's even in non-Star Trek stuff. It's crazy.
I'll watch something. There was a barrel roll in First Contact?
No, there is an oh gosh, what is it? Insurrection.
Was it Insurrection?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
because that was the infamous joystick in the middle of the
nebula fight.
Yeah.
He barrel rolls the Enterprise.
Gotcha. I don't mind a barrel roll as long as it's slow.
Yeah,
but
but
the
it's
thing
not.
is,
That's the
yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
Well, this is a smaller ship, and again, part of the problem is we don't have anything nearby that helps give us a sense of scale for when it barrel rolls. So we don't know.
Right.
There's a lot of perspective problems with that analysis. But go on.
All right. So we go into the bridge of the Shrike. I can never.
Why is that so hard for you?
It's named after a bird.
I know. And this is where I'm going to give some props, some serious, major, massive props to Frakes, because I want you to look carefully at this shot. All right. And Danny.
Yes,
Danny,
what?
buddy.
I'm not gonna. Okay, I promise you.
No, Danny. I want you to look at this shot. Okay.
I think I know what's coming.
Then we're gonna look at the shot of the bridge. Wow, look at that! He turned on the lights. You can actually see people a little bit. He actually brought up the lighting on the bridge. This is much, even though it's still too dark, it's much brighter than it was in the previous episode.
Yes, and you know what?
Even though they're at red alert, he has all the lights on set to white.
Yeah. Well, there's red lights there too, but
maybe this is something they do to help with the circadian clocks. So the lights are off when it's supposed to be nights, and they're on when they're.
Or maybe Jonathan Frakes is just a more competent director.
Or that
he wants you to be able to see the characters.
That, although who directed the first two? Because I was just about to say it's not like a normal TV show where like it comes out an episode at a time, and they're actually still working on the final few while those are out, and they can get feedback and change things. I mean, this was shot a year ago, so it's
the second episode was Douglas Aronofsky. Sound looks Polish.
Yeah.
I have got something better.
And looks like
he actually did the first two.
You did the first two. So hey, you could be spot on. Like, so I'd be interested. Is he directing anymore? Like, so we can compare later if he comes back. It's dark again.
I'm checking.
So we got a donation from Mercer.
Super chat.
So thank you, Mercer. Donated $1. It says, finally we get to the meat of the story. Not a bad episode, and I liked it. Thank you, Mercer. And
Mercer.
I don't know that we're to the meat of the episode yet. Or meat of the story yet. I don't know that.
There's a lot of mystery left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am not convinced that that we're to the big bads yet.
Oh, I know. Okay. Duh. Yeah.
But about this set, yes, he did turn up the lights somewhat. I think it was interesting how he could never really tell if they were at red alert or not.
Right.
I think that the lights should get a little darker. And obviously, there should be some red lighting when they're at red alert. But there was this is obviously I think there are at red alert. But later in the episode, Shaw calls for red alert again.
Right.
And the lights don't change or anything. So it's an interesting choice that Secret Hideout initially made to have just been basically rigged for dark the whole time. But I do like what Frakes has done here.
Yeah, or that.
Interestingly, on lighting, the only thing I'll bother to bring up, because I thought it was kind of funny, was later on in the episode when the ship has actually taken damage and been more affected by whatever nebula entity they're actually in. The flickering actually ended up causing the lighting level to actually hit way closer to where it should have actually been. So in particular, if you go back and you watch people being brought into sickbay, the light flickers in there when they go bright, it actually looks right, and it's still not TNG bright. It's the right kind of brightness for this kind of cinema.
Right.
Anyway, so I did want to give props where props is due, and so thank you, Mr. Frakes, for bringing the lighting up a bit. even if it's still not to the level that I would prefer. At least we can see the characters on the set.
You know what? I don't really, man, there's a... Never mind. Go ahead. Sorry.
And I do want to also thank them for some nice ship porn, even if I think the ships are way too maneuverable. I do want to thank them for.
Well,
the nice ship.
we still don't know the scale of this ship, and Riker even says to Picard later in the episode, he's like, Jean-Luc, this is not the Enterprise. He's like,
no, I get it. This ship is like this.
This is not a warship. It's an exploratory vessel. It's not.
Well, so is the Enterprise D.
But not. But
it's like
yeah,
the
but
scale
toward
of,
the end,
right. This ship is like the size of a Connie. But I still think
it would be more maneuverable.
It would be more maneuverable than the Enterprise D, but that doesn't make it like a sports car. It makes
why not? It's probably smaller. I mean, do we know the specs on this? Is it smaller than Enterprise D? I wouldn't be surprised.
I haven't seen anything.
Assuming
based on the
slimmer.
Based on the windows, because behind the bridge there's the meeting room area, and we can see those windows on the model. Based on that, this thing is about the same as a TMP era Connie or Voyager in terms of length.
So so compared to
in terms of length,
okay. So compared to D, it's tiny.
Yeah,
right.
Like
but the Connie was not a tiny ship. We're not talking about something.
It's all perspective, man. Like that, you're right. At the time of TMP, it wasn't. It was their flag star ship.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Darren. You sound like you're about to.
I prefer ships that move like naval ships as well. But there is a thing you have to realize when it comes to maneuvers and perspective. There's a shot in I believe it was the episode was Relics where the D had to escape from a Dyson sphere, and it does a Millennium Falcon maneuver, and it looks like a Millennium Falcon maneuver, but I think that's because you're looking at the size of the Enterprise D in relation to this incredibly massive thing called the Dyson sphere. And I ran into this too. It's like you'll have some ships like destroyers that move like ships, but then when they're moving and maneuvering around aircraft carriers, they tend to look more sporty, even though they're really not moving very fast. But comparatively speaking, they are. And so, that's why, again, in the remastered version of TOS, I didn't have as much of a problem with the way the Enterprise maneuvered around the Doomsday Machine, the Planet Killer. But it does give the sense that they're sportier and more maneuverable than they typically would be. And in this,
I dig it. It looks like a sports car. It's like the sports. It's like the BMW M3 Roadster of starships. Okay, it's sporty, affordable, kind of sexy, but it's not
affordable.
See, it's all about perspective.
It's only $300 trillion, but we got a super chat here, Danny.
Compared to a Lamborghini, a BMW is affordable.
Super chat, Danny.
You're lying.
Super chat.
And so, thank you, BK. Is this going to be the only time Captain Riker loses? No, because
he hasn't lost yet.
Because Picard lost for Captain Riker. Captain Riker technically did not lose.
No. The captain, he's the captain. Picard is not used to knowing his role and shutting his mouth, and Riker had to tell him several times.
Right.
Several to the point to where it was believable to me when he's like, "Get off my bridge."
We'll get to that. We'll get to that later. We'll get to that later. I'm not going to jump ahead.
All right.
I mean,
all I can think of with that scene.
So stay on target. I'm not going to bring up the TIE fighters yet, but let's stay.
This is why these things take 4 hours to talk about a 55-minute long episode.
Not today, Jack. I got you guys. We can do this in one.
All right.
So let's move on. So then we got another crazy maneuver shot, and I mean, again, the ship porn is nice, but the maneuverability just looks a little silly to me. I do got to say, man. This lady has got to have the most bulletproof lungs in the history of history, because she is just constantly smoking. But yeah.
Have you never been a smoker? Do you know why it's so hard for me to I can't sit
No,
here
I
for 2
actually
hours.
am a former smoker. I'm
So
just
come
kidding.
on, man. Okay,
I am just kidding. It's just
Okay.
it's just funny because she's constantly smoking these cigars.
The interesting thing to me about her in this was all of a sudden, as soon as the cameras were off and she was no longer performing for Starfleet, she became serious.
Yeah.
You know, she was this giggly Joker-like thing.
Well, that's
You know,
probably
in
a
the previous
tactic.
episode,
Yeah.
and now all of a sudden she's
Just
deep
deadly.
in thought and quiet.
Chief, your ship is garbage. Just so you're aware.
It couldn't get a hip replacement surgery because it breaks the BMI rule.
Yeah.
It's the fat ship. I'm just
All of this
putting
holds
it
up.
together.
Yeah, no. it all holds up.
Wait, Danny, what is that? What kind of cigar is that?
It's an actual cigar. I don't want to get in trouble, and I may not even light it. But it just seeing this still just made me want to hold it and taste it.
Well chosen. Not what you thought.
And so Mercer with another donation.
Yeah, sure. Oh, super chat.
Mercer says the 17-second title was well chosen, not what you thought it would be, Salty. No, it's not what I thought it would be. I get where they got it from.
No,
yeah,
I agree.
We'll get to that. But I don't think it was the worst possible title, but I just, I mean, I get it. It had a direct tie into the story, but I think that there could have been a better way to do it. All right, so then we get the part 3, 17 seconds. This had a very short stinger in comparison to the other episodes.
No, they've all been short.
No, the last one, it was like a very good chunk of the episode. But
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one was very brief.
Yeah.
Then we get the title card before, and then which that is like the most vague title card ever.
No shit, right?
And BK Dan with a super chat. Thank you, BK.
Yeah, see. Oh,
that's pretty sus.
Yeah, when I heard Kirk scream, I said super chat.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Titan A is apparently 1,839 feet, and the fat one is 2,108.
Proving me right. He's smaller ship.
Yeah. So there you go.
Those stands got to stick together.
Pretty sus.
Yeah. All right. So I really hate that title card because they just didn't want to have to stick to an actual timeline.
No, I applaud Terry Matalas for this because seasons 1 and 2 of Picard were so god awful, and he's being forced throughout all of these episodes so far, especially in this one. He's being forced to bring up like the most horrible plot points, the absolute worst, all the stuff you and I hated the most about seasons 1 and 2. They got to deal with this so we can get on with it. And I really loved how, so like before, because he doesn't want to go through the trouble of having to navigate the timeline of you got another
in the Battle of World 359. Some of the ships were zipping around like fighters, including an ambassador.
And you know what? You're right. So SVS Guru 2000 with €5 says in the Battle of Wolf 359, some of the ships were zipping around like fighters, including an ambassador, which is something I hated about the depiction of the Battle of Wolf 359.
And now SVS Guru 2000 is proving Salty's point. So
yes. That's something I absolutely despised about the opening episode of DS9.
Yeah. I appreciated this because I didn't want them to have to specify exactly when this was, because they weren't very. I mean, were they very specific about Riker's son? Like when he was born, when he died, in relation.
They are specific about this show. They say it takes place in 2401.
Okay.
And so yes, Picard Jr. is about 20 years old. And so before,
Well, this before takes place obviously after Nemesis because he's already captain of the
right.
Titan.
So
What
the
I'm saying
problem
is, did we ever find out how old Riker's son was when he died?
I'm trying to
Does
remember.
anybody remember that? Like,
You'd
because I
have to
don't.
go back to the other Picard
Yeah.
seasons to find out. The
Well, if any
problem
of
is
you,
that you're going to run into problems with the timeline, no matter what you do.
Right, which is why I appreciate the before thing. And hey, I just want to say thank you to everybody in the chat.
Yeah.
Especially for all the super chats. Not that it does anything for me, but hey, real quick though, do me a favor, guys.
Chief
There's
Cook,
30
again,
of
your
you.
ship is
Why are you letting Chief Cook distract you?
I don't
really
know.
I'm trying to help you get likes, man. I was just saying there's 30 of you in here, 17 of you have liked. Please hit that like button. What like, I'm doing you a favor, man. Just like,
all right, so back to the so the before. I get it. They're trying to be as vague as they can because they don't want people to be able to accuse them of being off on the timeline. So then we get this really horrible de-aged Picard.
Nice.
That's just
now. I want to ask a question about this. Did we complain as much back in the days of makeup when they tried to make somebody look older? Because to me, this is just the technology they're going to use for these kind of shots now. And makeup wasn't perfect either. I mean, if you look at Shatner's makeup in the Deadly Years, for example, it was clear that and the actor had to sell it. I think this is just the latest way of changing somebody's age, but and yes, there's an uncanny valley element to it, but did you at least get the idea that this was supposed to be several years
can we
ago?
Show the real clip, please? And like the
wait, that is the real clip.
Yeah. What part did Ian McKellen play then?
Yeah, just no. There is a shot where you see them both, but that's fine. Yeah. I mean, but that doesn't look bad to me. That does not look bad to me.
I think it achieves the goal. They don't look normal.
They did not have. Well, they did not. It looks better than that. Did you ever see that Stallone movie, the Samaritan? It looks way better than the de-aging they did on Sly in that movie.
The problem was with de-aging, nobody does it like Marvel.
Yeah, see, you guys are just spoiled, man.
But even Marvel isn't perfect. I mean, if you saw, and I did see enough of this movie now to be able to comment on it, Captain Marvel, you had a de-aged Samuel L. Jackson. The problem was he still moved like an old man.
Right.
So he had his young man face, and this was also a problem they had with the Irishman. Was De Niro? Yeah, he had a young man's face, but when he got in and out of his chair, he did it very slowly, like an old man would, because he's an old man, and you can't get an old actor to move like a young man. I mean, to me, the best effect they've done so far with that technique, the Lola technique, was with Michelle Pfeiffer in the second Ant-Man movie. And also with Kurt Russell in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 in the beginning when he's showing his girlfriend the thing, because that was actually a different actor essentially wearing young Kurt Russell's face, so he moved like a young man.
Yeah, the thing that actually threw me off here wasn't the de-aging. It was the 98-year-old voice on a 70-year-old face.
Buddy.
Yeah.
Like that was because, man, poor Patrick Stewart. He's
the problem.
Rapidly.
The big problem here with this shot was not the de-aging technology on their faces. It's the fact that Patrick Stewart is hunched over and really sounds like ancient Patrick Stewart. And
I think I made a funny comment the other one of the Friday or Monday streams that Stewart on his own seems older than what DeForest Kelley portrayed himself in Encounter at Farpoint.
Yeah, and they even made him up to look even older.
Yeah. So it's kind of rough.
But yeah, this little thing. I mean, I get the impression that this might have been the last time they saw each other until season 1 of Picard.
That would be my assumption. Yeah,
because the it seemed like it had been a very long time.
And Gavin Blackburn, thank you so much for the 99. I don't know what you call it. Pence?
Euro, pound.
Yeah,
Or 99, 99p, actually, as they probably
Yeah.
say it.
But whatever you call it in your neck of the woods, super sticker. I truly appreciate it, my friend. Thank you.
99 throppence.
And so Danny seems to have wandered off. I'm going to pull him back there until he comes back, because I don't want to sit there and stare at his weird picture. All right. And so let us move on from the weird uncanny valley to actually a nice shot of the Titan. And right there, I think that shot was created to evoke a picture of the Enterprise from inside V'ger. Because that,
or even the beauty shot that they used in Undiscovered Country when they were coming up on Kittimer.
I don't know. To me, that looks just like the shot when they were inside V'ger, because even the background looks like the interior of V'ger. Just different colors.
Chat. I'll take over.
And you'll do it the other direction, right?
FPS Guru with a €5 super chat. Thank you so much. And says, have you seen the I don't even know how to read that word. How do you read that? What is that word?
Have you seen the AI voice memes?
There we go.
With AI, Joe Biden, Trump, and Obama. They could use AI to make Picard sound younger.
Yeah, I thought about that. Why didn't they try doing something like that? Maybe Patrick Stewart wouldn't consent to that. Because I know that they did that actually with
Vader.
with the Obi-Wan series with Darth Vader.
Right.
What's his name? James Earl Jones was totally on board with it.
Yeah.
And
he can't barrel him out like he used to.
Right. And that's what he said. He said, that he doesn't have, because if you listen to his voice in Rogue One, he's like, Joe, cut your aspiration. Okay, are you back now, Danny? I saw you on camera.
I've been talking this whole time. I didn't realize until just now. That's why I turned my camera
if
back
you're
off.
not on camera, dude, you're not, come on. You back?
I don't want to be on camera, man.
Well, no, you need to be on camera.
One of the things I want to mention here about that shot is
they did it with Val Kilmer. Also, I said that, you guys didn't hear me. I said Val Kilmer and James Earl Jones. Those would have been the first two I went to. I didn't even know about Biden, Trump, and Obama.
Yeah.
When they want to show an Enterprise in a heroic position, they usually show it from the bottom. But when they want to show it vulnerable, they shoot it from the top.
Stop disappearing, Danny. Come on.
Jesus Christ, man! I'm not trying to get in trouble with my wife or my fiance, whatever. Give me a break.
You're kept woman. Yeah.
I'm not doing any drugs. I swear to you.
What are you doing?
If I tell you and she watches, she'll know, which is why I do this. And then I do this.
That makes no sense, Danny.
Plausible deniability. Let's move on, please. You guys are, you blame me for the derailments, but it's because he's calling attention to stuff that I'm doing that doesn't even make a single sound.
Right. Yeah, he gets distracted very easily, I think. Yeah.
All right. So now this is like, okay. I don't know if you want to call it dumb or brilliant. That's what you're doing. So
shit. Well, I just put it out. No, I was about to spray some Febreze and it'll be fine.
Yeah, you're going to get in trouble for that. She knows when you do that, even when you think she doesn't.
Do you talk to her a lot or something?
Yes.
Yeah. All of us do. Yeah.
And she does know when you do that.
Damn it.
So yeah, stop thinking you're not pulling a fast one on her.
Well, she's letting me get away with it, just complaining to you, apparently.
She lets you think you get away with it, but she gets mad at you. So stop doing it.
Hey, Thomas has a super
And Thomas with a
chat.
$5 super chat. Thank you so much, Mr. Potts. I have to leave for work, and since you won't get to it for hours, wasn't it nice how the energy surges made the lighting in the ship look normal?
Hey, I'm prepared for the lighting jokes today. It was on the thumbnail, for crying out loud. So.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking.
Wasn't it nice how the energy surges made the lighting in the ship look normal?
I was thinking, you know, if this show takes us to Deep Space Nine, which is a possibility, I suppose, wouldn't it be interesting if they get to Deep Space Nine and everything is brightly lit there?
Yeah,
like, that was the dark show back in the day, and now what if everything? What if there's like unicorns and rainbows and crap all over the place?
What did Franks call the set when they were filming it? They called it Deep Sleep 9 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go to the promenade and it's all super bright, and they're like, "Wow!" So you guys tell me, is this like a brilliant idea or like really lame that they're literally looking out the window?
I thought this was
totally practical.
I thought it was genius. Did we already? I think we did. Did we miss the part where Shaw gave like the best line he's given so far? Anybody else got any weird shit to throw at me?
I didn't like that. I understand that this newer generation of Starfleet officers throw the language around a lot, but I mean, I thought that Star Trek was smarter and better when it didn't say things like that. But getting back to this idea here, on naval ships you have lookouts,
right?
So this was totally fine with. I was totally fine with it.
My problem with it, okay, so and there Danny goes again.
No, I have an actual valid opinion on this, and I guess it's my fault for being so fucked up on previous shows that I'm being treated like a child, and I don't want to be treated like a child. So, you know, if you're going to treat me like one and put me in the corner, I'll put myself in the corner. So there you go.
Stop doing stupid things.
I can't have the opportunity to.
You can't stop
unless you guys give me a chance. No, never mind. I'm sorry.
So here's my problem with, okay, so as far as the looking out the windows thing, I get that it on a naval ship, it's a practical thing to do, but they're in space.
Right.
And realistically, the distances in space, like I know that later she spots something at 3,000 meters, which, okay, 3,000 meters is a little less than 2 miles. And could you spot a spaceship 2,000 miles away or 2 miles away? Yeah. Would a spaceship actually be attacking from 2 miles away in a space battle for real? No.
Inside a nebula?
Yes.
Inside a nebula? No, absolutely not. And that's another part. I mean, because they don't do space. I know it's Star Trek, and they
but I mean, if we're going to apply modern aspects to this, in a sense, these are like gigantic fighter ships. So yes, they're attacking. They haven't shot yet, but the attack run, because if you talk to fighter pilots, you're either offensive or defensive.
Right.
And just because you're offensive doesn't mean you're actually shooting. It means you're lining up your target. So you spot this person from 2,000-3,000 meters out. You need to start reacting now. Like, you don't start to move your aircraft out of the way of the aggressor after you see his belly, because that's when he's going to shoot you. As soon as you start to see anything resembling a flat plane of the aircraft, if you're in guns, you move or you die.
Right.
So yeah, I don't have any issue with this at all. I think this is fine.
This nebula seems this nebula is made out of pure plot convenience, because it's like these clouds that are like super dense or non-existent at all.
Right. The science officer, the bald Vulcan chick, did say that there was also some other things about it that were interesting, and that she actually refers to it more like an anomaly, which I have an idea on later when we get to it in about 6 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. There's some kind of anomaly that they've never encountered.
Yeah. Again, my thing is, okay, your sensors are down. What else are you going to do? Yeah, send somebody over there, to the windows to observe. I mean, that's what else are you going to do? And Bird of Prey 5 says there should be cameras pointing out. I think the camera is the sensor that's down. So
has anybody here? Yeah, I mean, Yeah.
But
You know,
even the
that's-
Enterprise, but even the original Enterprise and Wrath of Khan had visual in a nebula.
It was heavily, you know, distorted, yeah. But you know, it might have been better to look out a window because you wouldn't have had all that snow and static on the screen.
Yeah.
You know, again, I didn't have a problem with this scene at all.
No. It just seemed a little weird to me.
I actually appreciated it. I bet you this is one of those things that Terry himself probably added in, because this has actually come up before in previous movies and episodes of Star Trek, where like, why don't they just look out the window? I've literally had friends say
Yeah.
that. Why don't they just look
Yeah.
out the window? You know?
Yeah.
And I
Or
would
that
agree,
fi-
Bird, cameras aren't scanners.
Or that funny line from Ensign Actress, you know. So if somebody where Riker says, so unless somebody looks out a window, they're gonna fall for it.
Mhm.
If you remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's from Peak Performance, an episode that
Yes.
Salty did a very poor review of.
Poor
Years ago.
review. It was an awesome review. Jeez. And so here, Vulcan chick, or Vulcan man chick, I guess you could say.
What?
Why?
She was
Why?
feminine.
Delta Vulcan.
Delta
Yeah.
Vulcan, yeah.
Yes, Delta Vulcan.
Well, we've seen bald Vulcans before, so I don't
Yeah.
know.
But bald chick Vulcans? No.
I think we
Uh,
might have, but that's okay.
Oh,
It's
in
just
Enterprise. Yeah.
It's
and
just,
she,
it's
you
just
might have thought she was a Romulan, but she did say what was logical in this. So
Right.
it
Yeah.
does
Yeah.
make
She
sense
didn't-
now that she's a Vulcan.
She
Yeah.
wasn't smarmy either.
Yeah.
no, no.
Yeah.
You know, you can tell she's a Vulcan. She's wearing a blue uniform.
Yeah. Well, no, but you know,
Nah, that was a joke. It wasn't meant to be taken literally. All right.
anyway, so she she does talk about the fact that the nebula is weird.
Yeah.
And that it seems to have biological readings.
Right.
So do you think the nebula is a life form?
I think since we know the villains in this, and we haven't gotten to that part yet,
Yeah.
I think the villains are the nebula, or they're part of the nebula, because one of those villains in an episode of Deep Space Nine demonstrated that he could exist as both fire and vapor, in addition to liquid and all the other in the solids.
I don't remember that. When
Yeah. The character's name was Loss, and he was played by J.G. Hertzler, and it was an episode where
Really, JG played a change. Well, I
did.
remember he was a
He did.
changeling when he was Martok.
yeah, well, he actually played a character called Loss, another changeling. He was the only other changeling I know of that had an actual name, because he had been living amongst the solids for a lot longer than Odo, and he was a much better shapeshifter than Odo was. In fact, when they first encounter him, the runabout is going at warp, and Loss is in the form of a space creature that's swimming through space, kind of like the alien that was attached to the Enterprise that
Okay.
Sour the Milk, that episode. And he boards the runabout, and the reason why he did this was because he sensed another changeling like him there, and he'd never seen one before. They take him back to the station, and Odo learns a lot of things about what shapeshifters can do because of this guy. Yeah.
And so is this before the Dominion War stuff, or is this?
I can't remember if it was before or after the Dominion War officially kicked off. I think it probably was after. But he was part of the original 100 that was sent out to, shot out into space. So, yeah.
I'm trying to find the episode. It was season 7 episode.
Okay.
Okay, so it was after.
Yeah, it's called
definitely.
Chimera.
Yeah. And J.G. Hertzler didn't. He
I'm not
used
sure.
it. He used his middle name. He kept his last name, but in the credits he's listed as Garzon Hertzler or something. He used a different version of his name for it because he wanted to keep him.
So this I thought was a nice touch. Is Shaw relieved? LaForge and the other person at the con, because they've been going for a long time.
36-hour shift. He said.
So they could go. They could get some rest.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessary to put this in there, but I like that they did this to show that Shaw was caring about his crew.
It's what they call it, a character building moment.
Yeah.
No, I
also-
was worried that it was going to be the night shift and it was going to get darker.
Oh man. Well, the whole shift thing, at least on a submarine, changes once you're at battle stations.
Yeah.
So, for example, you have your normal watch, but then if you're at battle stations, you're supposed to be somewhere else, or sometimes you're at the same place. It all depends on what's on the. Everybody's supposed to know where they go during battle stations. That changes based on personnel.
Yeah,
and things. So I appreciated this a lot. The idea that, because I was on watch one time for 72 hours before they gave me a break, and I was hallucinating. I had been awake for so long. They actually had to give me some stuff to help knock me out.
And Danny.
Super chat.
Oh, come on.
Super chat. Remember remember the depth of one's voice when saying super chat is inversely proportional to the size of their member. That's why I'm all hee. That's why Danny's all like this.
Yeah. Danny is just feeling bad because he knows he's busted. So BK Dan says aliens named Gumbatu, episode Tin Man TNG.
I think Tin Man was something different.
Yeah,
That was
Tin
not
Man
the same
was
episode.
Big,
Yeah, that was a living creature.
Yeah.
That was a living ship.
That was a ship.
But,
yeah.
Yeah. Whereas the creature I'm thinking of was basically it had Leah Brahms, and I don't remember if it was her holographic self. I think it was her real self.
Yeah.
And the Enterprise performs a C-section on essentially a space slug, and then the thing
because
attaches.
They killed the first one.
Yeah. They accidentally killed it, but then they cut out the baby, and it attaches to the Enterprise, and they had to figure out a way to get rid of it. So. It was a character like that. Sorry, go ahead.
Forge goes to visit 7 of 9. So, do you think this is going to blossom into a new lesbian relationship to replace the old one that they had in season 1?
I doubt it.
I hope not.
I doubt
because
it.
I know that oh gosh, no, I can't believe I'm forgetting her name. The actress plays 7.
Jerry Taylor.
Yeah,
Ryan.
Yeah, Jerry Taylor. I know that Jerry Ryan was uncomfortable with that, and so that's part of the reason that they kind of downplayed the relationship later on.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Jerry Ryan doesn't like that historically. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we got President Obama.
Right, but the
you don't get that.
Yeah,
never mind.
I'll
tell you after the show.
No, I know all about that. But anyway,
all right.
I think that would be a bad idea to try and force that on her again.
Yeah. By the way, that scene where little LaForge goes up to her and tries to give her a pep talk, it's interesting because that was a totally, the idea of her just walking up to her in the threshold of her quarters and volunteering all that pep talk, was very TNG, but it was also not very modern in terms of how we do things. And I think that Seven's comment about this sounds rehearsed was sort of meant to let the audience know, okay, this is kind of ridiculous what's happening right now, but we're aware of it. Yeah.
I thought it was a very Geordie LaForge thing to do, and I liked the fact that at the end, when she said Commander 7, that Jerry Ryan smiled.
Well, yeah, because she was trying to acknowledge that she was like, yeah, I get who you really are.
Yeah.
Even though I don't like that she goes by 7 as opposed to Hansen. That doesn't make.
I actually like that she goes by Hansen. I'm fine, but the thing is, it's not something she's chosen. It's something that she's been ordered to accept.
Right. That doesn't. Well, no, I'm just saying, like, it shouldn't be that she wants to go by 7.
We talked about this 2 weeks ago. Slave name, that whole thing. Let's we're only 10 minutes into this episode.
Now, this other doctor here,
Dr. Oak.
Is that her name, Doctor?
I think it's Dr. Oak or Oka.
Dr. Unjoined Trill. Beverly makes her look incompetent in the scenes that they share.
Yes, and yeah,
No,
Dr.
I don't
Hoka
think
is
she.
like
No,
acting like Beverly has no place in her sick bay.
That too.
This is the
yeah.
only anything to do with sickbay and those two doctors is the only thing in the writing that really bugged me in this episode.
Oh, there's a couple of things that really bugged me in the writing in this episode.
Because you know, in a world with the level of diagnostics tools that they have, being quote unquote out of date by 20 years would be of nominal impact in a triage situation.
Right. Yeah,
like come on.
That set that actually, I thought for a second, oh, did they reconstruct the Voyager set for sickbay? Because
it looks a lot like it.
Yeah, I thought that was a good touch. Yeah.
You almost expect Rob Picardo to make an appearance,
or Andy Dick.
I guess, and this plays off of fresh. Oop.
Where'd he go?
Danny's in and out tonight. Like he's having sex. I don't understand.
Jeez.
Are we live? We're live, aren't we?
We're live. Do it live.
Dang, sorry.
This is not ABC.
Now Salty's hiding. Oh, there he is.
Oh, sorry, I was just texting Danny.
I kind of want him to be back on in here because what I wanted to say had to do with one of the things that was, kind of bugged us all yesterday, talking about that first episode of Mando season 3, and that is this. If this interaction happens, to allow for an additional interaction to actually supposedly have more weight, which again is just foolish, because I would assume that within the modern Navy, to make that comparison, that the medical staff, the doctor on board, the main doctors, depending on the size of the ship, actually I know from submarine service, you guys are pretty much all trained on first aid and triage, but
some
in
more
this
than others,
situation, this situation, you like on a starship with this many people, your first top skill would be triage, because you don't have an entire starbase worth of equipment on hand.
Right. For her to thumb her nose at a civilian doctor trying to help during a triage situation was pretty.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to accept that, but I mean, is it just me, or are most of the people on the Titan A dicks? I mean, I don't understand this at all, because
this is actually the Enterprise D and not in a complimentary way.
I mean, you remember anytime there was a guest doctor on board, they asked Beverly if they could use a hand, and she accepted it every single time. Granted, that's not a CMO thing. That's more of just a doctor to doctor thing. Sure. I mean, they have to be aware of her credentials. I mean, so I don't know.
Yeah, thanks for saying CMO, because I was having an awful time trying to remember the proper.
And SBS Guru, thank you. Another €5 says there's no EMH because the Zimmerman type had been retired to the dilithium mines, and Andy Dick has been canceled.
I'm waiting for them to actually reveal that this doctor is in fact a hologram, because that would actually then make sense to me.
Right.
If she's that by the book.
She got called down to engineering, so
Well, hollow emitters on every deck, just like the Prometheus, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, but
and
couldn't
the
you just
Protostar.
say, activate another one down there?
Technically, the doctor should be able to be in more than one place at once, but again, Voyager, they didn't really seem to understand how software worked.
Right.
So I mean, I don't know. All I'm saying is it wouldn't surprise me if that doctor turned out to be a hologram. I don't think she is. I think she's supposed to be a physical doctor, but that would actually go a long way towards making sense.
And just to straighten Chief Cook out, since he's being an idiot, no, Crusher does not have the rank of captain. She is no longer in Starfleet. She is a civilian.
Right.
She has the rank
she's
of
20
hero.
plus years retired.
Yeah.
She has the rank of civilian. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just she's not a Marine. She's not a Marine forever.
No.
So there's nothing there. All right. So moving on. This, I think, is probably the best scene in the episode.
Agreed.
This scene where Picard, man, lets her have it for basically making his choices for him about his son. And man, that was the moment that I could really feel his emotion and feel like as a father, I would be like devastated that she made those choices, even though I could understand where she was coming from. Like, she wasn't thinking, she was thinking, Picard probably would feel this way. She wasn't doing it maliciously, but how dare she make that choice for him when, she cut him out of being a father.
The thing that impressed me about this was also Patrick Stewart was not Patrick Stewart here. He was Captain Picard.
Yeah, he was Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah, and that was what hit home for me. Her points that she brings up one that I didn't think was legit at all, but then the second one she brought up totally legit. The idea that her son would be a target because of who his father was.
Right.
Plausible, doesn't give her cover, but you can at least she gave a reason that one might be able to understand, although not agree with, but still understand to a degree. But yeah, good stuff. And I didn't mind that it was this long. It was a relatively long scene. I mean, when you measure the length of the episode versus the scene alone, it's about this long on your computer screen when you're watching it on the computer. And I think that a lot of people who have become accustomed to secret hideout brand Star Trek and being shoot 'em ups and action and adventure, these kind of scenes, people forget this is what used to be in Star Trek all the time. With these kinds of moments.
Significant proportion of it was,
Well, not only that, but think about this. This scene was literally not only two people just talking, but on opposite ends of the room. They weren't even near each other. This is the entire scene, was the two of them this far apart. They never moved. And I mean, man, it was powerful. So...
And even with Gates McFadden's messed up face, it's still she still managed to push the emotion through it.
They both brought their A game to this scene. Both of them were. I mean, I felt like this was Dr. Crusher and Jean-Luc Picard.
Yeah. They truly, really did own it. And the thing for me that I really liked with this, and in the body of the whole Picard series so far, is. And I didn't watch season 2, which I'm not going to bother. But the belittling of Picard's the character in season 1, like just the utter silence for a show called Picard. The amount of character destruction, effectively, that went on. And the fact that it was, I hate to say it, but it's like Whammons be powerful is basically what was going on in the first 2 seasons. And the reason why this is important is because the writing and the final production allowing a man to be as particular in judgment of a woman on a scene again like this lets things happen naturally, and it really brings you into it. Everybody gets to say their piece, and nobody is deliberately held back, so it feels real in a way that we haven't seen in Star Trek in a while.
And Danny, really since you're back, what did you think of this scene?
I loved this scene, and it's comments like the ones Darren just made about the beautiful Beverly Crusher, Gates McFadden, that just infuriate me so much. I have to leave for a little bit. But I love the acting was A+ in this scene, and it was to Darren's point, it was relatively long in relation to the rest of the episode, and it didn't bother me at all, and it felt like, it felt like old Trek, it felt like
Right.
it fit. It felt like a warm blanket. You know what I mean? I was trying to-
There you go. Yeah, I remember you said that before. The
Yeah.
warm
Yeah.
blanket.
It was like yeah.
Scenes like this have been in Star Trek since the very beginning. I mean, you know, you can remember, you know, Picard, you know, having his argument with Guinan in yesterday's Enterprise, you know, not good enough, damn it, not good enough. You know, that, you know, that thing. And then you have all the way back to when everybody was affected. I can't remember what the disease of the week was. Michael, you'll know this, TOS, where Kirk, you know, is, you know, now I know why they always call the ship she, you know, I think, do you remember that, you know?
I know which one you're talking about, but I can't put a name.
Is it the Naked Time? Is it the Naked Time?
I believe
it's funny you mentioned that because there were
Naked Time. Yeah,
there were a lot of that scene that we're paused on here now. If you remember the Naked Now in TNG, there was I don't know, just a lot of memories, I guess. I don't know, because that was the first that we know, like at that point, because they say in this conversation that they tried 5 times.
Oh no. Is it the Naked Time? Yeah,
I don't remember if it was the you know, where they're trying to get the cold start to not run into Psi 2000 and all that stuff. But yeah, no, I mean, you know, Danny, what you were talking about with Naked Now, you know, that was the worst possible thing to do for your second episode.
Yeah, but it was very similar to, and I think that's why they called it Naked Now. It was like some kind of, you know, everybody on the ship got infected, everybody got horny, and you know, and so apparently
not everybody got horny, but
well, whatever. But my point is, apparently, before the Naked Now, they had it tried at least one of those 5 attempts happened before that episode.
Right. There was
clearly
something.
Attempt,
something there. Yeah, but Naked Now. The reason why it was a mistake wasn't because it was an immediate hearken to a memorable episode from the original series. It was because those actors didn't know their characters yet. Now they're expected to play them uninhibited. I mean, Patrick Stewart is terrible in that episode. Once he gets infected.
Funny. That is so no, it's so funny. I love that scene. I just rewatched it with Buddy.
He's terrible at acting like an intoxicated Picard because he doesn't know who Picard is yet, and he's like, no, you know, he's just he's just awful.
Like the straight man the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, this scene. You know, is probably the centerpiece of the episode. This is where the drama happened, and a lot of people again forget that Star Trek was a science fiction drama before it was a science fiction action adventure series. So
and two really good episodes of DS9 where this whole show might feel like we might get a peek of. That really leans into what you're saying, Darren. Is in the pale moonlight. And It's Only a Paper Moon from season 6 and from season 7.
Duet.
I mean, just awesome stuff. Yeah.
Duet, the most memorable show, and most people would say the best show of Deep Space Nine's first season was a bottle show, Duet. 2 characters talking to each other. It was basically the whole show.
Yeah.
But anywho.
I could see, you guys were talking about this earlier. This is what prompted me to come back. I actually, every time, you know, Picard made the argument that us as men can relate to. And then because before this, I was like, how can we justify this character of Dr. Crusher doing something like this? And then when she explained, you know, it's kind of like why superheroes have to have secret identities. When she explained that, like, you know, that line, when he brought it up earlier, I knew I could protect my son, but I didn't think I could protect your son. And that's like that to me at least made it like, damn, Beverly Crusher would be that pragmatic and would do that. And that's when I'm not necessarily agreeing with it because, you know, I've kind of, you know, I don't want to get off on a tangent about my personal life, but I could somewhat relate, not 20 years, but somewhat relate. And so for me, this scene hit like, I almost cried, and you guys know I cry at everything, so I was really trying not to. You know, it was a good scene.
Yeah, Danny, good points made. By the way, did you have In-N-Out Burger today for lunch?
No, I why? No, I'm not allowed to. I mean,
because you're constantly in and out.
Oh, funny.
All right.
And it's not fair because he can get to In-N-Out Burger, and
I can, but I would get it protein
can't.
style because I don't
totally
eat bread.
not fair. I want In-N-Out Burger right
Yeah.
now. All right, so moving on. Then Riker has his little heart-to-heart with Picard Jr.
I love this.
Well,
This was another good scene.
yeah, it was a good, not at the level, of course, of the Picard.
No, but I love what Frakes
No.
did. This is some of his best acting. I love what he did with just
Right.
his face.
I thought
without
this
saying
was a good scene as Frakes tried to describe Picard to him. And I also thought this was a good scene for, and I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the actor that's playing Jack. But I thought it was a good scene for him to be able to show off some of his acting chops, to try and show that, yes, he can act. I get the feeling that they're trying to set up a spinoff for him.
At this point, I wouldn't mind if he's continuously written like this, and the actor's great. Now, the actor is about 10 years older than Jack Crusher is supposed to be, but I don't even care at this point. He's obviously got some space miles on him.
Right.
So.
The question is, because, are they going to, is he going to end up in Starfleet? Is he going to be, I don't know. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a show centered around him, but I'd rather it be a Starfleet show. But, that's just me.
So, yeah, we're
and
16
then,
minutes in.
This is a very
16 minutes
short little moment. And I do like the fact that Riker is like, dude, go talk to your son.
Yeah, but Riker doesn't know. Like, we didn't even talk about this. The at the very end, Beverly was like, "Look, when he got old enough, I told him about you, and he made the decision to not seek you out, and he's continued to make that decision until now." And so, what that told Picard was like, "Yeah, there's nothing between." Like, that's another thing I could relate.
He didn't want to talk to you.
I have an estranged daughter, unfortunately, and I could totally. Like sometimes when you're given information and that hurts that much and you're forced to be around them, it's I thought this was very well done on
if you got a family member that just doesn't want to talk to you, sometimes you just got to deal with that. But yeah, right here when Riker is like, dude, just go talk to your son, and Picard's like, no, we got to save the ship. And Riker
he even says he has to apologize to Shaw for like
and Riker understands what it's like to lose a son.
Exactly.
Picard doesn't.
And that's why I think he even says something to allude to that. He's like, you don't know how long you have or chances. I can't remember what he said. He said something.
Right.
If you exclude the experiences Picard had in the Inner Light, and you exclude the fact that he had virtual children in the Nexus and the Generations, and well,
the virtual children in the Nexus don't really count because
I agree.
No, the Inner Light thing, I think that's that could be the most powerful argument against Beverly Crusher. But do we know if he ever I guess he did. Did he confide in Beverly?
Did he? He didn't lose the children in the Inner Light.
No, he didn't. They all died together.
But he had
children.
Yeah,
he had
a family.
He had a family, and he lived an entire lifetime.
Right.
As I know, he confided in that one girl he dated with the rollout piano, but I don't know if he
Lieutenant Darren. Yeah.
Well, you would remember that. I don't understand, or not understand, but I don't know if he shared that information with Dr. Crusher, and maybe if he had, she would have told him. It's kind of how I, because I did think about the Inner Light during this episode.
Yeah. It's one of those episodes everybody loves. It's on their top 5, but then it almost seems like they have to forget about it in order to have the character move forward and have these experiences. It's a very strange thing. Yeah.
God, and just imagine what that would do to your brain. I mean, because his body, his body's 100 years old, but his brain is like 200 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, does this look like it's 3,000 meters away?
No, but this is a classic problem.
I know.
Yeah.
Scale thing, but whatever.
Well, these are big ships. They're, I mean,
They
300,
man, like,
400 meters
that
long.
could be, yeah. I mean,
I will say I did not like her reaction at all. I thought that she was scared and unprofessional, and
she looked like she's about to take a. You know what? Why don't you go to another clip?
Now I am used to seeing women with their mouths open that big, but she seems to be overreacting here, and I think that's
especially if she's an officer, that would be.
Oh, don't you remember? Because he said he speaks in a high pitch, so that means he's got a big schlong. Whatever,
I was gonna leave it there, but you had to ask.
Hey, at least I said it in a PG friendly way.
It's all right. You picked the thumbnail. I mean, you picked the shot.
Yeah, he did, not me.
Yeah, he walked it right in, whether he meant to or not.
But Darren's a good Christian man, so he never.
Yes, I know.
Oh, no
I'm
wonder.
also a sailor. I'm also a sailor, so that
I need to
have to. I'm kind of like Worf in that regard. I have to balance the two sometimes, although I shouldn't be balancing.
So it's got every venereal disease known to man.
No, I don't.
Well, it is canon. No, it is canon that thanks to Discovery, it is canon that Klingons have two penises, which means Worf has two penises. So
I don't buy that at all.
I don't either. But unfortunately, they made it canon, which is why Discovery should be.
They made it canon to
off the face of canon.
They made it canon to Discovery, but clearly this is not within the canon of Discovery, since Worf looks like an actual Klingon.
I hope so.
Yeah, thank heavens.
To be fair, they only made it canon that the whatever strain of Klingon that the large
whatever species or race of Klingon, whatever race of Klingon, I guess.
Yeah.
The ones that are like those Klingons. They have
like lost tribes or something.
Yeah. Well, because the other thing is that whole thing came from a misinterpretation of what was established about the Klingons in TNG. Yeah. It was only their vital organs that had redundancies, not all of their organs. And as much as a young man might consider that thing to be a vital organ, it's not. Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, by that principle, they should have 4 arms and 4 legs.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So it was the idea
that Spider Klingon from that crazy episode of TNG.
He's as always smoking a cigar.
No, he's getting water.
Yeah. No, she's talking about that character, I think, right?
Oh, Smoky Fur lady. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I really can't wait to see her go completely spastic, because I went out of my way to rewatch the scene from the restaurant from Pulp Fiction, and it's going to be fun to see her just cut loose and just give her. Because I got to think they're going to just let her go, because she was such a caricature in the first little bit that we really got from her, and she's been so subdued right now.
Yeah.
No, what she just like goes out with a whimper.
Yeah, yeah. She's like in like a lionette, like a lamb.
Yeah, she just surrenders.
Yeah.
All right. So, and we see her just blasting the crap out of the bridge of the Titan. Fortunately, the shields do not go down. Or they would all be dead. Like if this were Wrath of Khan with no shield, they would be completely dead.
Yeah. How did you like the shields on the Titan A? Because they're very tight to the hull.
Yeah, this is kind of how I imagine TOS era shields.
Right. Yeah.
Which because I do like.
I like it better than the big,
the bubble
thing. But so the
this is also how they do the shields on Strange New Worlds, and it's very
well, and that's the TOS era. So one thing about the scene I really did want to say, I wanted to ask you guys actually, and I don't know if I'm projecting because Amanda Plummer is Christopher Plummer's daughter, but I was getting some real General Chang vibes from this chick. Like were you guys from?
I didn't.
You guys?
I didn't get that.
She didn't spin the chair around. Well, you might have been just out of earshot getting your beverage, but I said I can't wait for Amanda Plummer to be able to cut loose again and just go completely Pulp Fiction all of a sudden.
Right? Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool. Yeah.
Any of you effing pricks move, and I'll execute every last mother effing one of you.
I'm just waiting for what's going to happen is she's going to beam Samuel L. Jackson and John Travolta over to the Titan and start executing everybody.
Well,
No, I didn't get the vibe of her being plumbers because this is. I mean, she's not quoting Shakespeare.
well, no,
she's
but like she's
torpedoing
very
the ship
eccentric.
and stuff.
She's very eccentric, in like.
Well, not in this episode. In the last one, she was, but in this one, she became very serious and very, very
she was,
subdued.
She's very methodical.
The real boss called and said, "Get it together and get it done."
And yes,
right,
Brian McFarlane,
probably.
Brian McFarlane, you do bring
one of the founders was like, "Get your shit together, lady. We're watching you."
You do bring up an interesting point. Technology-wise, yes, the Titan should have a shield bubble. But I prefer the look of the shield close into the ship.
I do too, and I almost feel like
I don't care. Even though I know that canonically it should be a bubble,
that and it just looks cooler. Like we get cooler looking crashes and shots, and
I think that was something that might have been just unique to the Galaxy class because they had the ability to extend their shields and temporarily and stuff like that. And I get the idea that maybe that was just a thing that class of ship had that.
Or you
was
can
made
even
it
argue
special,
with the type of warp cores they had in the late 24th century. And now that we're in the early 25th century, it's a different kind of technology.
Well, even on the Sovereign class, they had the skin hugging shields because there was a lot of
so
that.
So Darren might have there might be something to Darren's theory, and you know who would know the answer? ChatGPT.
and they did say, Serska, that these are metaphasic shields. Maybe that has something to do with it.
So
I mean, we anticipate that weapons and defenses against those weapons are going to be stronger in the future, but who knows?
And why did they go? Martin says, why did they go back to photon torpedoes? Quantum had taken over. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. Maybe those are quantum torpedoes. They're just red now. We don't know.
Maybe they have both because maybe they needed the photon torpedo for that trick he did. So either shoot the photon torpedo and blow it up with the phaser. Maybe that wouldn't have worked with the other type. But,
I just don't see them carrying more than one type of torpedo, especially on a ship that size.
Why wouldn't you?
Because my submarine didn't carry more than one type of torpedo. That's why. But again, it's not the same thing, apples and oranges. But during that transitional period where quantums were taking over, I can see where they might have some. I mean, obviously the D had both photons and quantums, and in the battle with the scimitar. So yeah.
And SVS Guru, thank you for another €5.
Super chat.
And a bubble is just easier to do in CG than a shape conformal shield. That is very true. That's the real world explanation. You didn't see any shields in Sacrifice of Angels. That's a big problem in DS9. Basically, in DS9 they just turned it into Star Wars, where shields just were inconsequential.
So can I tell you what the creepy OpenAI bot told me?
What?
Well, I asked, is the Galaxy class starship the only ship in Star Trek with a bubble shield? And it told me the Galaxy class starship is not the only ship in Star Trek with a bubble shield. In fact, several other starship classes in the Star Trek universe are depicted as having similar shield technology. For example, the Sovereign class starship, which was introduced in the film Star Trek First Contact, also features a similar shield technology that creates a bubble-like force field around the ship.
It doesn't know what you're talking about.
Additionally, the Prometheus class starship, which appeared in Star Trek Voyager, the episode Message in a Bottle, is equipped with a multi-vector assault mode that involves the creation of a shield
that isn't even what you
bubble
asked.
Around each. No, that creates a shield bubble around each of its separated sections. Other starship, this is the last part. Other starship classes in the Star Trek universe, such as the Intrepid class and Defiant class, also have advanced shielding technology that may be similar to a bubble shield in some ways, although they are not always depicted as such on screen. So, hey, if you're saying that OpenAI is wrong, Darren, get their beta program and help, like, educate them so they get the right information.
I have better things to do than to help refine an AI that will kill all of us someday.
Whatever.
But no,
Yeah.
Defiant did have a bubble type shield. We
That's what
did
it's
see
done.
examples of that. So
Yeah.
maybe it was just something of the
Except for
era
when it
then as
didn't.
well. Except for when it didn't, exactly. Yeah.
Maybe it's different types of shielding, you know?
Maybe.
Because, like, don't you remember, or maybe it's just a writing thing. They used to say ray screens. Maybe the hug titers or I don't know.
Well, they would say screens and shields.
Screens and shields. So maybe
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Or
Deflector
didn't you say there was a
screens,
multi something thing they said about their?
Oh, you could go down a rabbit hole on this, because you remember, I'll just say this one thing about shield stuff that just shows where this is going to go is, you look at Wrath of Khan and it's like energized defense fields, and that's not actually shields.
During yellow alert, which suggests then that during red alert they've got those deflector shields and the regular shields.
Yeah, so
well.
it's
Brian is asking, and I saw you put it the first time. I'm sorry, Brian, I was just waiting for a pause in the conversation. What about the Voyager armor technology that it brought from the future?
Right, we never saw that again.
But Starfleet's supposed to be a peaceful mission.
That technology, though,
it looked like the Batman '89 shields.
It failed, though, eventually, even in that episode, because the Borg eventually got through it.
Yeah, but it would still be useful.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, again,
maybe their warships have that. Remember, this is an exploratory vessel.
Right, right. I think that's because in TNG era, the vessels that dedicated to exploration were the most powerful ships because they were going to deal with the unknown. But since then, it seems like they're not. I mean, would it be fair to call the Titan A mid-range explorer vessel?
Probably, yeah.
Quantum torpedo,
just like a certain other ship from another franchise that had 3 seasons,
like the Sovereign.
And another super chat from SVS Guru. Thank you so much, buddy.
Super chat.
Because quantum torpedoes are probably too powerful for lesser ships and are limited to dedicated warships like the Sovereign. Yeah, that doesn't explain why the Shrike. I'm gonna call it
Shrike.
Just think
Spike. Just think Spike.
I like picturing a big ogre chip. The Shrek. Why doesn't it have quantum torpedoes when it has like every advanced weapon ever? And they specifically said photon torpedoes when they scanned it.
Well, I mean, who else has quantum torpedoes besides Starfleet? I don't think anybody does, right?
Yeah.
So, no, the Shrike is a menacing enough looking character as ship. If you think of ships as characters, it's quite the nice little menacing villain,
right?
It's got this crab like, thing going on. And I just think it's a pretty nice menacing ship. I even like the fact that it has a deflector dish in the front.
Even though I grumbled about the inventory listing from the previous episode, this ship is definitely way better than the Scimitar.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Scimitar was.
I still think, I like it better than the Scimitar, but I do think the inventory is way out of control. And I don't like the deflector dish because I'm like, this is not a Starfleet ship. Why does it have a Starfleet looking deflector dish on it?
What? It's red.
Yeah, but no other, like the Romulans don't have a deflector dish. The Klingons don't have a deflector dish. The Borg don't have a deflector dish. The Dominion don't have a deflector dish. Why do these guys have a deflector dish?
Use what works.
Cool. Because it's cool. I mean, I don't know.
It just looks weird to have a non-Starfleet ship with a deflector dish.
I mean, never mind. Go ahead.
But no.
Meanwhile, in the Fat Cave, the Dork Knight is getting raped by his pussy cat.
What?
At least it's covered up.
Yeah.
The cat on human violence is real.
Yeah.
So poor Danny. Yeah, and I like that too, Positive Kendra. We'll get to that later. Fire everything we got. 4 photon torpedoes.
Yeah.
Well, thank God that's all they fired because they did
but
that shit from Portal.
they didn't bother firing any of their phasers.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
Thank God.
Well, they did to detonate a torpedo.
Yeah,
Later, yeah.
I know, but when Riker said fire everything we got, they didn't fire.
No, that
anything.
was at the end with fire. In fact, if
Yeah,
you
that
wanna
was
get to the end,
when
man.
Portal 2 electric
They might not have
boogaloo
had.
kicks in.
They might not have had
Yeah.
phasers at that point in the battle, though. That's another thing. We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
we haven't even got to one of my favorite scenes. We're only like 20 minutes in.
I'm
and
trying, dude.
We're talking for like an hour and a half now. He's right. We're gonna be here for 4 hours. I don't want to do that. Come on.
What?
I got shit to do. I got websites to launch. Come on.
I
let's
mean,
go.
each time the ship gets hit, something's got to give, and
yeah.
you know,
Oh, that's
I'm
a nice
convinced-
little stop. right
Yeah,
there.
I've been trying to grab a lot of the ship porn just for you, Danny. So don't say I didn't do anything for you. And by the
No,
way,
thank you.
another super chat from SVS Guru because dude,
Super
you must have just
chat.
gotten paid or something. Thank you.
Did you not get my
Yeah.
super chat with like when I left like a crybaby? I sent in a $2 super chat and you never
Did you?
mentioned it. Yeah, did you see it?
No, I didn't.
I
see
said it said maybe she's just a bitch. I was talking about the doctor when you guys.
I
were
didn't see
talking.
that as a super chat. I saw a chat.
No, oh yeah, I
Oh.
did. I super
Oh.
chatted.
Well,
Maybe it
thank
didn't-
you.
Yeah. Anyway,
But yeah, SVS Guru said maybe it's not a flector dish, but a weapons pod for the Doctor Strange portal weapon. No, because we see the Doctor Strange portal weapon comes off the tip of those spires.
so
Maybe it's like a Death Star, though, and that thing is what spits it the rest of the way.
It could be.
okay, so
I don't
my mom, she's on retirement and I'm not a baller, so she can't do super chats. So she asked something in the chat a while ago, and so instead of super chats, she texted me because I'm on the show. She wants to know, did anybody else count to 17 when Picard got on the lift to sickbay? And I don't think we've got to that point yet, Mom.
Your
And-
mom can super chat. What's she talking about?
No, she says she's poor. She doesn't know how. I mean, I'm sure she knows how to, but she's
Oh.
she's on a
My
fixed
answer
budget.
my answer to that
She's not that
is
poor.
I timed the scene from the Wrath of Khan, 60
Uh-huh.
seconds.
Uh-huh.
Was not 60
It's
seconds.
not 60 seconds.
No.
So I just after that, it's like I will never bother to time anything in a Star Trek
I
TV
didn't-
show or movie.
I didn't time it, Mom. I'm interested in like, was it 17 seconds? Because I didn't time it or count, but it to me that made the title and what Riker and Picard talked about in the opening scene. It made it come full circle for me. Like I was like, oh my god, like, and that's such good writing. You bookend a show with an episode with the theme. I loved it. That's why I thought it was a great
I
title.
think the entire episode should have been 17 seconds long. That
Nah,
would've
you're
been
crazy.
hilarious.
No, that was like
That would have been absolutely hilarious if the entire episode was just 17 seconds long. Every fan would have been just so angry.
I felt that way about one episode of Strange New Worlds, but
What
that's
was it?
okay. Oh, we won't. We're not talking about that show.
Yeah, that's true.
Stay on target.
let's see.
stay on
All right.
target.
Stay on
Yeah,
tar-
Porkins.
no,
Yeah,
good.
Target Porkins.
Hey, that wasn't Porkins, but we need to do an episode.
No, you're
just on
Porkins.
Ooh.
No, I'm all right.
Oh, now we're that's fighting words, man. Porkins is off.
Oh,
Right.
positive.
Okay, you
Can.
got- Okay.
Did you see that positive Candor timed it and it was 17 seconds? That's awesome. Right on.
nice.
God,
Nice.
that's even better. That's
Now this scene I have never seen before in a Star Trek show. We've seen Captain Garrett got killed instantly by a piece of shrapnel from an exploding bridge console, but Shaw gets majorly messed up here, but he's still fighting
There's a
through it.
bone
Dude,
sticking out of
Yeah.
his
Dude,
leg
I have it
Yeah,
paused on
yeah.
that scene in case you
Yeah.
couldn't get to it because you see the
Yeah.
bone sticking out of his
Mhm.
leg.
Yeah.
Because I had to
Yeah.
rewatch that because at first I was like, why the hell did he so quickly give transfer
Oh, he
command?
knew he was
And
going down.
And then I rewatched it and I saw I missed it the first time and then I saw the bone popped out of his leg. I was like, oh shit, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But he fought through it enough to give Riker
Yeah.
the transfer of the computer control. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
I
this,
like Shaw a lot, dude. This
Yeah.
oh.
This redeemed him from the dinner scene.
Yeah,
as far as
right?
I'm concerned.
Yeah. I will say this too is this kind of grittiness This kind of, shall we say, making it, more modern and more real feeling as far as how some people would try to look at it. This is better by far to have this than the unnecessary swearing.
Oh yeah,
I agree.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
But
Okay,
yeah, but here he didn't say you're effing gonna get us
right?
out
No,
of here.
but
They could have done that. But
in my
didn't.
defense, to the point I was making earlier, when to the line that I like made me pop, that I laughed at about the weird shit, I would have had the same reaction if he just said stuff. So I do agree. I do agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The line was not wrong. It was just the words were wrong.
Yeah,
the line was still perfectly fine because that actor is able to deliver with that snipe. That
like anybody else got any weird stuff to throw at me? Would have been it would have been more Star Trek actually. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But he, and this also kind of leads into something I'm thinking about regarding how these newer ships work. Seven mentioned that engineering is pretty much all automated now. Mm-hmm. And so if the ship is largely automated, if you can't just, have him taken away sickbay and have Riker say, I'm in command now. The computer wouldn't recognize that unless he did this.
Right.
It's like he wouldn't be able to give an order to engineering. I have a feeling that engineering is no longer a team of people anymore. I think it's part of the ship's computer. And so this would have been necessary. He gives it to him.
This was a good. I love Shaw, and I love how we'll get to it eventually, probably in an hour, where he's on the sickbay bed, and he gives Jack the idea that there's some kind of breadcrumbs.
Jump ahead.
Yeah, he's still thinking about the job at that point.
But I do. Yeah, I think he. Unlike us, Shaw is 100% laser focused.
Yes.
Despite the fact that right now he just took shrapnel to his head, shrapnel to his leg, shrapnel to his midsection.
Had a compound fracture with the bone sticking out. I couldn't believe I saw that on Star Trek. I could not believe that.
He's bleeding in more places than he can count. He's got to be in massive amounts of pain. And what does he do? He thinks about the situation tactically. He says, okay, Riker is the best person to put in command. And then he gives Riker specific orders as far as hey, you're going to get us out of this.
You got us into this. You're getting us out.
That's how it's, yeah. He's definitely he's such an alpha. I like him for the same reasons I liked Lorca initially when we first met him.
Yeah.
Before the truth came out.
And Brian, if the captain died before giving the codes, who would get command of the ship? Probably the XO.
Probably, no. In this case, she was confined to quarters for insubordination.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean.
Does the computer know that?
I don't know. The computer knows that because he.
You think so?
Unless he actually did something to.
She was confined to quarters with a guard posted in front of it. The computer knows. Totally.
That's too much of a stretch, Danny.
How is that too much of a stretch? He doesn't
because we didn't see him remove her security codes and things. She still had free reign of the ship once they got past the guard. She and Jack go into different key areas of the ship. I mean, I don't think she wasn't persona non grata.
They went into security areas,
and I'm okay with that because if you think back to. If you think back to the closing episode of season 1 TNG, one of the comments made is that officers on board starships know better when to and when not to use their access to do things. When he was barking at that businessman that they took out of the freezer, who was just calling Captain Kirk like he was Captain Stubing.
Yeah. Well, the other thing, of course, is the Riker is still an active duty captain as right now. He doesn't have a chair, but now but that was obviously he was, and he's the former CEO.
Well, you can't have it both ways. Last week you were saying he was retired.
No, I said that Picard was retired.
Okay.
I didn't say Riker was
retired. The bridge crew died in a battle. Who does a computer give control to? Whoever the highest ranking officer.
Whoever the highest ranking officer. It's just like the president. It's whoever the highest ranking officer is.
The computer would read the vital signs of every person on the ship. And so whoever the highest ranking living person is.
All right,
that's
let's
an assumption. We don't know.
Yeah, let's moving right along.
All right, so then we cut to Worf.
So this is a scene. Gosh, you cut too quickly. This was another scene where it was shot like you could tell it was a Jonathan Frakes directed episode because like the intro to this, the way it gets put into frame, out of focus, and then into this is something he uses a lot.
Well, it's also kind of funny because you could tell that they sped up the footage in order to make.
That's another thing he does, man. I'm telling you.
Slow. I thought they had him in slow motion.
They did the thing where they slow and then
they used slow motion, and they also sped up the footage in order to make it look like Michael Dorn was capable of moving in such a way.
It also gave it that weird kind of trippy look. And I'm telling you, Jonathan Frakes has done this because I literally said out loud to the TV this specific scene. Yeah, it's definitely Jonathan Frakes.
That's a redress of the Shrakes Bridge too, by the way. A lot of people don't notice that. But no, was Worf listening to Klingon or human opera here?
He was listening to the same song. It was in Klingon.
This is one of Picard's classics.
But this was in Klingon. It wasn't the same. The one Picard was listening to was the same music, but the lyric, like it was a different language. But it was the exact same song from First Contact that he was listening to.
Gotcha.
And I don't know what. I loved it too, and I didn't know what language it was, and I haven't got to go down that rabbit hole yet. But I'm guessing Klingon, probably.
So Raffi doesn't know who this idiot is that is in her place. So she decides to sneak up on him with her gun, and he throws a member berry at her.
Dark Tog, although it's not exactly what the ones we were used to seeing from
Klingon bastard, you killed my son.
Right.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that, of course, because it's movie time, they can throw a knife into a metal floor and it actually penetrates.
Well, that's because it's Worf, son of Moog.
Yeah,
he's got the vibra knife upgrade on it.
I don't have a problem with that at all.
And I tell you what, how boss was his first spoken line?
Oh, his titles, and it's
and then he ends it with,
and then he uses the martial arts move of grabbing the gun out of her conveniently open hand. Which is why I paused it right here so you could see that her hand is actually wide open for him to grab the gun.
Yeah, but put a knuckle duster on there. I think the actress would have liked to have kept her hand.
I know, but that's the funny thing. It's like the hand has a brass knuckle attached, and yet he's still able to just conveniently grab it out of her hand. It's like
he's
if this is what we're complaining about, this just
should have had her
episode is
exactly, Jason. Exactly. If this is all you can nitpick and complain about, shut the F
no,
up.
LDG. He did not say LDG. He did not say Slayer of Martok. He said Slayer of Gowron.
He was the Slayer of Gowron. He was in the house of Martok.
Because yes. And the only thing that would have made it even better if he had mentioned that he was now a Dahar master, like Kor, But
that was such I loved his deadpan delivery though of the. Do you want sugar? Like with.
Dorn just absolutely jumped back into this like he was back on DS9.
This makes me want to see a Worf series after this.
Yeah, it does.
Please.
And the only thing I didn't like about his delivery was that he's lost weight. I wish he was a little bigger.
Well,
he's
whatever.
Vegetarian.
Yeah, but he's like 60 years old or something.
Well, and he's vegetarian or vegan. But Bird of Prey makes a good point. He says he would have never added Bane of the House of Duros to his title because that gives too much credit to a family that deserves no such honor. That's a good point, but I did laugh when he said it. So
me too.
All right, so Alex Kurtzman has tipped $1. So
super job.
Thank you, Mr. Kurtzman. It says today was a very emotional day for me, but I decided I accomplished what the great Roddenberry did in The Cage. I made the most diverse cast in Trek history. First black main character, majority female cast, barely any white men. Hail Kuroga.
None of that made sense because there's plenty of maybe that's the point. I'm not going to engage in this troll. So at least he gave you some money though.
I will say that his mustache still bothers me.
Why? What's wrong with it?
Because it's not Worf's mustache. His mustache is supposed to be bare underneath his nose, like a Mongolian. And that
hey man,
does,
you know how many times I've
it's,
changed my facial hairstyle in years? Like you haven't seen this dude in 25 years.
Yeah, but you're not a television icon. You're not a television icon either. So then that's where
plenty of television icons have changed.
It does kind of bother me that because Klingons generally don't have mustaches like that. They have Mongolian style mustaches. But I mean, he did a great job.
They're all modeled after Kor.
They're all modeled after Genghis Khan or whatnot.
Kor was the first.
Beheadings are on Wednesday.
Kor was the first. You're right. Yeah. And we can also see his ears now, which is interesting. Between that and the mustache, it did bother me a little bit.
Hold up,
but
what's
not
funny
enough for me to
about the ear thing?
What's funny?
Wouldn't it be funny? Like, gosh, I'm gonna ask Brian to ask Terry because he actually knows Terry Matalis. I wonder if like Terry Matalis went up to Michael Dorn and was like, "Hey man, I always thought it was weird that we never got to see your ears." Like, and this started making me think: do you even have ears? So is it cool if we just show your earlobes? This season. And then, like, like my nerd brain, I so hope that conversation happened, and that's why this is here.
It's interesting. They decided to make him platinum blonde in this.
He's white. It's not platinum blonde. That's white.
Well, that's what we call it. Anyway, in an interview recently that IGN had with Michael Dorn, they said, where did they come up with the look? He says they wanted him to look like that martial arts master from Kill Bill Volume 2. They literally say his name, and I forgot his name, Pao Tai or Pow or something.
I know exactly.
They wanted him to look like an old kung fu master from China, and that's what they got here.
Well, they kind of pulled that off.
They pulled it off.
I agree.
Especially with the mustache that you don't like, because there's one shot where like that's the stuff hanging off the side. That's this up here that he's let grow long and hang down. It's not from right. She can't see because you covered me up. You really ought to cover up the grizzly, Adams looking mother effer.
Which one's
and the Trek reviewer.
You know what? And I thought I was your co-host. If I'm the co-host, shouldn't I be like where Jason is?
No, Jason's the new co-host for this show.
All right, we'll get Jason to make your thumbnails for you.
You've been demoted. Yeah. Now I thought I recognized this guy. This guy has a very Jesse Pinkman vibe.
I thought he looked like one of those doctor, like later in the chair. I was like, is that Doctor Who? Like,
All right. So Worf has information on Titus because why not?
Because he's in Starfleet Intelligence, not.
No, he's not in Starfleet Intelligence.
He's not. So you think is he Section 31?
Well, he's subcontractor.
Because
I know he said. Think
black,
of me.
He's basically Blackwater.
I get that.
Yeah.
Does anybody know if The Verge has seen all the episodes? Because I read an article of theirs this morning, and they kept saying he was in Section 31, and I was like, no, he's not, unless they know something I don't.
I
don't know. I have no idea.
They're just saying that.
Yeah, because remember, he said, in this that he's just an independent contractor.
Think of me as a subcontractor.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's not Starfleet.
You know what sucks by Darren's rationale? That means it doesn't matter if Worf has two dongs because they're both really tiny.
Well, jeez, dude.
Well, he doesn't say super chat on a stream though. You didn't listen to all the criteria.
I do use my Worf voice for super chat. Now that I've said it, somebody's got to give a super chat. I'm gonna let that linger.
Yeah,
there's our.
That's what he wanted.
That does look a lot like Worf.
Yeah, that's what they were going for this choice.
They should have added more flair to Worf's eyebrows. Then that probably would have been too much, though.
Yeah.
So then, back on the bridge, Riker and Picard, sit on the toilets next to each other.
I watched. Did you watch the Ready Room? I normally don't, but my mom sent it to me, so I figured it was worth watching. And I'm glad she did because it had Jonathan Frakes on as the guest, and they gave him like a good 15.
No good, I can't maneuver.
Stay on target.
We're too close.
Stay on target.
No, You drove him away.
Come on, James.
Come on.
Let's take this opportunity to move forward a little bit before he comes back.
Danny, I didn't say go away. I was
Scene.
just saying, we're not going to talk about the ready room. All right.
You just you need to do the Borg cube exploding.
Yeah. All right. All right. So we, man,
I don't like this bridge. I will tell you. The three chairs is one thing. They also had displays facing the camera instead of facing people.
Come on, Danny, come back.
Okay. All right. We're gonna wait for Danny now.
Well, no, it's all right. He'll come back.
Yeah, no, just click forward.
All right.
In and out.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it either. And this shot exemplifies how it looks just awkward.
Mm-hmm.
And just not a fan.
I mean, it's better than the couch.
Yeah.
I called it the couch on TNG.
And this is the shot that Danny was talking about earlier. If you would come back, Danny, we're at the shot you were talking about. You should come back because you were talking about it. And so where Captain Shaw was still, despite the fact that he's in excruciating pain and the doctors are working on him and they're like, does this hurt? Does this hurt? And he's like screaming in pain and still is focused on the ship. And he's asking, how are they tracking us? And this is what gives Jack Crusher the inspiration.
Well, the shot I was talking about was actually of the blood droplets where Jack is looking at the... Yeah.
When he asked Jack, how are they tracking us? Jack looks at the blood on the ground and he's like, oh, that's it.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that Shaw is even now thinking about the ship.
No, dude, I love this guy and I've loved him since day one. Like he's exactly who he should be, who he needs to be. And if Brian's telling me the truth, he's only going to get even cooler. We're going to like him even more. So, and I just I pray, I just don't want him to die because I would love to see a Titan series after this. I want to see a Titan series and a Worf series, and I've only seen 3 episodes. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Well, you've seen
just
4.
give it to Terry Metalis. Just give it to Terry Metalis.
Yeah, I'm definitely on team Terry Metalis right now.
I'm going to buy one of those Terry Trick shirts.
And look at this. And I grabbed this one.
That's a gorgeous. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I grabbed this one for a couple of reasons. But A, it's just a beautiful shot. But B, if you look at the front brim, there is no denying that is the Connie refit.
So
box.
if you'd have let me finish my effing point from earlier, I was watching Ready Room in the first few minutes of the Ready Room. They're talking about the designs of these ships and how they did it. And they had Okada come back. They had everybody come back. Akuda, whatever.
Oh, nice.
They had everybody come back as consultants,
right?
To make it like they wanted to marry this. My mom was right, and I know I never watched Ready Room because I can't stand Will Wheaton, but this was a worthwhile episode because the beginning is talking about the ship designs, and then
sorry, Brian. Yes, there is a window on the bridge.
And there isn't. Not on this bridge.
Isn't.
On the J.J. Abrams verse, there is.
If you look at Riker on the bridge, you'll see it later. There
are skylights.
Well, it's behind them. It's behind them in the meeting room.
Yeah. Well, there's those, and then they're they have.
Yeah, but the view screen is not a window.
They did that in the J.J. verse, not in this. This is.
Oh, they've done it in this before too. I mean, the La Serena had one of those kind of view screens.
Yeah, but anyway, you're talking about Picard's seasons 1 and 2. Back to the thing. The point I wanted to finish making about Ready Room was he was. I forgot. Right, it was something Riker said. It'll come back to me. You guys keep interrupting me, throwing me off.
But if you look at the stripes on the front, you look at the window patterns, all of that. That is the exact same pattern and design as the original Enterprise.
Yeah.
Oh, I remembered what it was. So during the interview, Will Wheaton asked him some question about shit like this, other fan service, and the scene with Shaw, and he goes and he was trying to put Riker or Jonathan Frakes over, saying like, "This is some of your best work ever," and he was like, "How did you do it? What did you do?" And his answer was 2 words. What do you think it was? Terry Matalas. I thought that was so cool. Like he gave Terry Matalas all the credit. So that was the point I was trying to make earlier, because we were talking about Terry, and then
so then we get the portal gun. So they're trying to get away out of the nebula, and the Shrike fires the portal gun.
This reminds me of other special type of space weapons we've seen, like the Tholian web, for example. It had that feeling to it, even though, yes, we've seen.
Have you ever played the video game Portal on the Xbox?
Oh,
yes, I have.
That's all I thought about when I saw this.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think of Tholian web or nothing. I thought of Portal.
The interesting thing is that there's kind of a delay between when you enter and when you exit. And
I noticed that. And what happens if it closes during that delay? That might be something that, Hey, you know what else I noticed? Because you were talking so much about the maneuverability, and we're going to get there pretty soon. But there was like when they were supposed to try to go to warp, it seemed like it was like they were a semi truck trying to make a turn. It just like it was
compared to how the ship.
Yeah. Compared to how it moved earlier, I was very confused by that.
Right. That's a weird thing, is that they made the ship seem bigger here than it was earlier when I was doing a barrel.
Yeah. So I'll give you that. You know. Because it bothered me. I was like, why are they going so slow? Just go. But it was like making a wide turn, you know? I'm like,
I mean, the barrel roll, that's just changing the position of the ship along its axis. This is an actual trajectory change, which is different.
Right. Fair enough. But again, the barrel roll is also like, I'm telling you, go watch like Thunderbirds or any other Jonathan Frakes movie out there.
Thunderbirds.
It's in every single movie he's directed. I swear to you.
I won't be watching the live action Thunderbirds. I like the puppets better.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he does he fires she fires the portal gun. There's a nice shot of
look at that. That's a good pot. Dude, I want that as my screen cap that for me. I want that as my desktop background. That's sexy. That looks so
dark enough,
sexy, right?
Yeah, I do like that though. So you can see both ends of the portal.
I love it. Yeah.
This is, by the way, this is the only time in the episode where you see both sides of the portal at once.
Really?
Yeah. There's only one shot in the episode where you see both ends of the portal.
Interesting.
And that the other times you only see one end or the other.
Oh man, okay, come on, we're not even at the halfway mark yet. I got to talk about the guy that Worf catches.
I'm working on it, dude. All right, so
you didn't screen cap it, did you? Okay, that's fine. I thought we were friends.
We'll get it for you, dude. Don't worry, that's easy enough. So I assume you don't want the text on it, so I'll get it for you clean later.
Oh yeah, who said that? Rick and Morty gun, exact. Yeah, same thing.
Anyway, so then this is Riker standing in front of the. You say it's a view screen.
We still have no like frame of reference. Like I really wish I knew, because view screens can zoom in and whatever. Right. I really wish we knew exactly how big that ship was. If one of you nerds can find it, like you did earlier with the Titan, let me know, because nerd is a term of endearment.
I don't buy BK Dan's figure when it came to the length of the Titan either. Not based off.
Actually, straight off. I don't think straight off Memory Alpha, by the way.
Well, Memory Alpha. I can get on my memory. I can get on my Memory Alpha account and change that.
That's true.
I mean, so based on what we see, that's obvious. That's obviously mostly a Connie saucer. It has. You can therefore judge how big the ship is just based off of that.
All right. So back to it. Trying to go fast here. So now we're back to the planet, and now Rafi is wandering around a random crowd in a hood, and why not? Because they're in a rave-looking crowd. Worf grabs a guy, slams him to the ground.
He gives him a rock bottom. Yeah, that move is called a rock bottom through a table. Yeah.
Which I'm sure that Danny would really appreciate, since he's into wrestling and all. But and then Worf gives the best Klingon line in the history of Star Trek. Come on, am I lying?
No, Dorn just is on point every time.
Come on. I gotta give it to him here. This is the line.
I said this earlier. Yes.
Yes.
Beheadings are on Wednesday.
Yeah.
No, I left for a second to grab. I thought I did. I don't know what happened to it. I thought it was over there. I have the technical manual for the NCC 1701, and I was going to be a smartass, be like, until I see it in this, I don't care what Wiki Trek or whatever says, So
1701 is like just the original 1701 is like just under 1,000 feet.
Yeah,
long.
but now I'm like
290 meters. Yeah.
Now I'm like, where the hell is my book? So it's kind of got me worried. Yeah. Anyway,
but I mean, you can base all of it off of the window size, versus the whole kinds of things. That ship is only 2 decks thick at the end of the saucer.
Mom, throw Mom's comment up there. I tell you what, Mom, Worf had a ton of great one-liners in this. That wasn't the only one,
but that was the line.
It was the best one,
and
for sure.
Captain Morani, thank you so much for the $20 super chat.
Wow, you better give him $20 when you're going to insult my mother like that, because I know that's sarcasm.
It says, thanks to Dork Knight's mom, she raised a man who has the respect of his peers. Well, Jess?
She wasn't, John.
What am I hearing?
She was basically smacking my mom, or he was smacking my mom in the face, or they, or whatever.
Yeah.
Hey,
what is that? Is somebody watching television in the background?
No. That's
it's the super chat
automatic voice thing reading the super chat, so I don't miss it.
And I heard male voices.
Yeah, it was
a
Bird from the
Bird of Prey 5. Because on a $20 super chat, it's actually Bird of Prey 5 mocking me.
Yeah, it's the rendition of I was lost in the desert on a horse with no name.
Yes.
So
America.
Thomas, no, you guys don't. That was the joke. That was the sarcasm. Yes. Hey. Oh yeah. You're supposed to take a shot. You're supposed to take a shot. $20. According to Thomas.
I can't. As much as I would love to, I truly would. I
tell you what. Here, I'll do it for you. You got me blocked. I'll take a shot of this Pepsi Zero Sugar, and hopefully,
you can take a shot at Pepsi Zero.
They're not a sponsor, but it'd be nice.
I actually did make an agreement with my church that I would not drink online. So
seriously, why? How'd that come up? Did they
because I'm a deacon with my church now, so I don't drink online.
Yeah,
because there's an agreement that I made with them to not
trade off.
I texted him about that.
The night you cease being a deacon, you're gonna pop a cork on stream. I know you are.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. The minute I'm not a deacon anymore, it's like I'm gonna turn into lush on the stream.
No, I didn't say that.
Why are you calling me?
Because you don't check your text messages.
Yeah. What? What do you want?
Oh, the battling Bickersons here.
Where Jason is? Come on, I'm tired of being covered up.
It's my turn to live. Is it my turn to live behind the super chats? Is it?
No. I wanted you under me. I wanted Darren down there.
Well, you told me to put you where Jason was. All right. So, but but in all seriousness, I want to say thank you to Captain Morani. I truly appreciate it, man. I do. Because I've said it before, but the super chats moving forward are all going to be going towards making.
This is you're going to trigger my PTSD, because I thought we were talking about this backstage, and I was cleaning off my shirt with the lint brush yesterday, and we were live, and you didn't tell me, and I was very.
It was just hilarious. That was awesome.
I'm glad you thought so. Anyway,
let's move on. But no, all the super chats that we get on this channel are going towards making my house handicap accessible. So I truly appreciate it.
Why do I feel like I'm watching The Odd Couple?
You shut up. I'm trying to say
making your house making your house handicap accessible with the money money you make here. That's a good thing to do. And
that is a good thing
yes,
to do.
yes.
I mean, 'cause
and thank
I
you
need
to you
get one
all
of those
for
stair climber things, and I
donating
need
to that
get
cause.
wheelchair ramps for the front of the house
Yeah.
and stuff, and that costs money.
Right.
You know, and Heaven's Gate has tipped it
As long as you don't spend it on another 3D printer or something.
No. I won't be getting any more 3D printers for a while. Danny?
Or a 4D printer.
Super.
Danny?
Super chat.
There you go. So Heaven's Gate says, take a drink of Kool-Aid. Once again, thanks for giving us Matthew. You're welcome. Well, I don't have Kool-Aid, but I do have some Sunkist.
Isn't that soda, carbonated soda?
No,
Sunkist?
it's just juice. So,
I'm thinking of something else. And Sunkist was a orange soda.
No, it's like a drop-in thing. See?
Oh, okay. I was thinking of Crush then.
Yeah.
All right.
Orange Crush.
Yeah.
Orange
All right,
Crush,
so let's move on here. We're never going to finish.
Yes.
So the Shrek is blasting away once again. They're throwing donkeys at the Titan. And then little Picard Crusher gets suddenly realizes because of the blood splatter that they're tracking him, goes to 7 because I left out the scene where he tries to get to the bridge. The guy says, sorry, you can't go to the bridge. So he's like, okay, which is like kind of
it's at Red Alert. Yeah.
So he goes to 7.
Which we've never seen before. We've never seen them secure the bridge at Red Alert. Usually people can come right up on the bridge anytime they want.
Have we ever seen that point of view, though? Have we ever
see them secure the bridge in TOS?
Right. We have.
In TOS, we do see them secure the bridge. We never see them do that on TNG and later. But on TOS, they did it all the time.
I appreciated it.
Yeah. It's assumed, I suppose, that on the D, since the bridge is deck 1, the only way to get there is by turbo lift. The turbo lift simply wouldn't take you there, But since this ship apparently has, more than one way to get there. Maybe I don't know.
Well, because this ship, unlike the every other iteration, because every other hero ship we've seen, the bridge was the entirety of the top deck, right?
Right.
So,
all right. So hey, man, if you guys are gonna it's been over 2 hours. I've had the equivalent of 4 sodas. I got to take a leak. You keep
go ahead and take your.
I took my leak earlier and I didn't say anything. I just
you don't have to make a big production out of it.
Yeah,
that's why Bird's.
Well, if I don't say anything, he accuses me of stuff. So that's why
you can say what you did when you get back. You can say waste extraction. You can say Gelogia. I don't. Yeah.
This is why Bird's sending you one of his used Gelogia machines.
But this bridge is on its own deck with the meeting room behind it.
There's a bunch of stuff behind it.
That's the meeting room with the windows.
But doesn't it continue to go back?
No. That is behind the double doors, but the turbo lift it's almost like the Orville, because the doors open. There's a little bit of a hallway. Then you can see the windows of the meeting room behind them. But there's the turbo lifts. It's almost like an elevator, like in a real hospital or something, where you've got the elevators, on either side of the corridor. So yeah, but I mean, it's fine.
Sorry, dog's trying to chew on stuff. All right, so
Puka,
no, T'Pring.
Okay, I forgot.
Puka's the wife's dog.
Oh, that's the wife's dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So meanwhile, Riker and Picard are disagreeing a little bit on tactics. Riker wants to be more defensive. Picard wants to be more aggressive. This is where I'm having some trouble.
Yeah, me too.
Picard wanting to basically be the kick-ass guy is like, what?
Yeah. Remember peak performance, right? Who was better at combat? It was clearly Riker.
Right.
And to be honest, Picard was good at many things when it came to being a starship captain, but never combat. Ship to ship brinksmanship never was something that he was particularly good at. It was all the other stuff, the exploration, the archaeology, whatever. Riker was much better at that stuff than
This is definitely going to be a fight.
Yeah.
Fight. Yeah. No, because I disagree with both of you on this. And I actually got pissed. I yelled at the screen when Riker finally gave in and did what Picard told him to do. Picard hasn't had a command of a ship in at least 20 years. Riker's got at least that much, probably 15, 16, 17 years of experience as the captain of the Titan. He's a respected captain. It's been established before. And I think that's why this is the part I was talking about earlier. This is where he literally says, Jean-Luc, this is not the Enterprise. Like they don't have a snowball's chance in hell of fighting them. And then when he finally gives it, I actually kind of liked it. This was like they call it a double turn in wrestling. I liked how it ended up. I really did. Like, let's get to the part where he says, "Get off my bridge." Like,
honestly, I think they were both wrong in this matter. It didn't matter what they did. And now, but I mean, that thing where he tells him to remove yourself from the bridge. It was hard to watch, and I didn't like it.
Why?
But I understand. But I understand why it was done. You know what I mean? It's like, because you like these guys, right? You like it when they're buddy. You like them when they're chummy.
Yeah, but this is the first time we've seen the roles reversed. This is the first time we've
seen.
They're
not even reversed. They're not even reversed. Riker's captain and Picard is a civilian.
Yeah, but he was cosplaying. He even says, "Call me number one." He was cosplaying as the first officer.
He says it snidely. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know. It just I really like. There's a lot of nuance in this. Okay, I actually have some good points, but okay.
No, but here's the problem. Picard is advising Riker to go in and fight over and over and over. He says, fight. While Riker is trying to sneak. And
he also wanted to use the saboteur as bait in Riker said. I mean, I don't like,
but let me finish real quick. And Riker is
why you didn't let me finish. I'm probably going to forget my point by the time you're done.
Should have had it written down.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So Riker is trying to sneak and hide and run. And this is the total opposite of what these two characters would do.
It's also 25 years later. How do you know that Riker hasn't, especially after having a son and a daughter and a son that he lost and being responsible for the lives of hundreds of people for at least over a decade? I mean, these things change people. Are you the same person you were at 25 or 8?
We don't know what's going on with his family life because of the on a break thing that we have from the start.
Yeah.
So I think what
are you invoking Friends there on a break? Is that what that was? Was that a Friends?
Yeah. It was a break.
It's still the same.
My take on this is that both of them are completely out of line, and that they're equally right in their criticism of each other, but neither of them are accepting of it.
Right.
And
neither of them feel like
very good analysis.
I don't think that these don't, unlike like when we had Picard and Beverly fighting in the sick bay.
They weren't fighting. That wasn't a fight. That was
absolutely a fight. And
no, it wasn't.
That was a non-shouting fight.
Yeah, it was. That was. Don't get me wrong. It was a good scene. It was a great.
I would call it an argument, not a fight.
That's an argument is a fight. It's okay. It's not a bad thing.
He better never get married, dude.
Yeah,
I've been married a few times. Yeah, dude.
I don't doubt it.
Yeah, but let's hold on. Let's bring it down. Let's be calm. But the two of them, when Beverly and Jean-Luc fought in the sick bay, it was okay. It was a great scene. That was a great fight, and they both felt totally in character. In these scenes with Picard and Riker, they felt totally out of character. This did not feel like Jean-Luc Picard and William T. Riker.
No, I disagree. I know
totally new characters.
It could be a fake. It could be a fake out.
Like one of them.
No, I don't think it's a fake out.
No, this might be a performance for whoever. Again, this is a long shot, but that is a possibility. The other thing I want to mention though is that the other thing I want to mention though is that Riker did struggle towards the end of his time on TNG with the idea of playing it safe. And remember when he met his younger lieutenant self, the transporter duplicate, that his younger self was disgusted with how Riker, the older Riker or the Commander Riker would play poker with his career, playing it safe. This also might be an outgrowth of that. The thing that I think that they were actually trying to make a point on is that Picard is not giving good advice because is thinking about his son and he wants to fight to protect his son. I think that's what they were going for.
Well, okay, like you guys, remember that episode of Strange New Worlds where Pike ended up being the captain instead of Kirk when they first, when they basically redid Balance of Terror. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, right. So Pike was being very much like Riker is in this episode. So Pike is to Riker as what Kirk is to Picard, which I thought I'd never say, to be honest with you. When you compare those scenarios, and who was right? Who was right in the end? It was the one who wanted to be offensive, not defensive. To Jason, I think you brought that up earlier, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I do like. I'm intrigued, Darren, by your theory. I wonder if this is a performance.
If they know that there's the changeling on board now.
Yeah, so this could be a performance. I would dig that. I would dig that.
They might begin the next episode with a conversation we didn't see in this episode, where the two of them come up with this plan to get Picard off the bridge so that he can go look. It's something
or something, because so in the second episode, the guy that ends up being the changeling, which we still haven't even freaking got to, is the guy, and we might not have even gotten to the. No, we did. Is the guy who cut off was one of the dudes looking out. Well, there's a guy and a girl looking out the window,
right?
And the guy that cut the girl off, that's the changeling. He was on the bridge last episode. Is he on the bridge now? By chance, do you think? You don't know?
No, I was watching, but because he's a changeling, he could be anybody.
That's true.
And hey, man, did anybody else notice they got way better at changing their shape into humans?
The effect is fully 3D now.
Yeah, are we gonna get a little backstory on that? You think?
And they're not that amber color either. They're not because the CGI is much better. Now.
Odo could never get his face right.
No, that was a problem for him. And the rest of
the other founders look just like him.
They deliberately chose
to. They deliberately did that to look.
Okay,
like
so this
when
so
they
this
were
was just
in
me
subversive
stuff.
mode. Yeah, they talk about it in DS9. When they were in full subversive mode, the ones that had been part of the Great Link were very capable of pretending to be anything.
Dude, it's been forever.
Many of them,
Jason, if you can send me a link, because I don't want to misspeak. I have to write an article for somebody.
Yeah, sure. I can dig up some stuff.
Thank you. There are changelings throughout Deep Space Nine that completely fooled people. As far as there was the changeling that was
right, but I need to know why. I believe it. I just need to know.
Well, no, it wasn't so much that they were better. It was because Odo wasn't very good at it compared to them.
Well, yeah,
he even says in season 3, episode 1 that just remember that the founders are even better shapeshifters than I am.
Right? And, there's that one lacks specificity too. I do remember because wasn't Odo separated from the Great Link really early on?
He was the seeded out. He was one of the many seeded out, but he was left alone longer than they wanted him to be.
Right, and so he didn't learn that stuff. But so she did that shit on purpose. The founder did that in DS9 on purpose.
Yep.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. The interesting thing about this now, having them on here, is that with the exception of Worf, nobody on TNG ever dealt with the changelings that we saw.
Oh my God, I love that line where Worf said,
how long you been separated from the link?
No, not that line where he's talking about Odo without saying Odo's name. He calls him an honorable man.
Honorable man. Yeah. Now the other thing that gets me is the fact that we were all looking for villains that had been on TNG before. None of us ever thought to really consider the idea that they could be the main bad guys.
It's freaking genius. No, the change. This is the first come up.
Yeah.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the first time they've ever come up since DS9.
Since DS9, yeah.
I think it's genius.
Right.
I think it's like it was like Terry
And the
Metalis.
interesting-
Let's get to that, because here's the big reveal. We have baby Picard trying to fix the leak of the deuterium, and
that's Jack Crusher, by the way, and I think he's kind of cool. So
yeah, I know. I think he's actually a cool character, to be honest. He really grew on me. At first, I thought he was annoying.
I mean, if I can't say Mikey Spock, I don't think you should be able to.
You're
say
right.
Baby
I shouldn't
Picard.
call him Baby Picard. Because I actually do like him. I'm just calling him that just from Philly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like him.
It's a term of endearment. All right.
Yeah, it is a term of endearment. It's not.
No, it is. Yeah, it is. It's like when I call everybody in the chat nerds. I'm not insulting you. It's a term of
yes, his name is Jack Crusher, Brian. That's not a joke. That is his name.
Yes, that is his name.
But this is actually not the reveal. This is the second reveal. The first reveal was with Worf and Raffi.
No, this is the first reveal.
This is the first reveal. This is the first. This is the first reveal. Yeah.
Raffi and
you're right.
Worf
You're right. Because
we haven't got to the torture scene yet.
Gotcha. Because they get identified with Worf and Raffi, but
right. With this one, they don't explicitly say it; they just show it, and it's left to you, the audience. So this one is just for the nerds.
Right. With
I don't know that. No, the special effects were different enough. I actually didn't off of this scene. I did not know this.
This is all they showed right here.
I thought it was like and that doesn't look like they did in DS9.
Right. But it's after the Raffi Worf scene when Jack wakes up that he says it was a changeling, because he knows what a changeling is, which is interesting to me.
Well, him and his mom are basically doctors without borders. They've probably been everywhere and ran into everything.
Well. Yeah, I thought it was interesting that he identified them. He knew what they were. Yeah.
My first reaction when the face distortion happened was Suliban, but then I thought, no, there's no way they're going to do Suliban.
But wouldn't that be a sweet ass deep cut if they bring a Suliban in? Because that's only been an Enterprise.
That would be funny. Yeah,
that would be great.
As soon as the thought jumped into my head, I immediately switched to then this has got to be a changeling, because I know they're not going to do Suliban.
I was like, is this a Suliban or a changeling? And I was like, And I was like, we haven't seen either of these in a long time.
I actually thought maybe species 8472, because I didn't understand exactly what happened to his face.
All right.
And I'm thinking,
well, I think it's kind of cool that you thought that, Michael, because both of those, out of the two of those, we haven't seen this. We saw the Suliban most recently, even though canonically they're further back. So
yes,
Thomas Potts, they didn't fight the changelings so much as the Jem'Hadar and the Vorta. The changelings were
they were the puppet masters.
Yeah.
But then we get to this guy who, by the way, I did not suspect that he was a changeling at all.
No,
me either.
He really looked like he was just in withdrawals.
Very well done scene.
Yeah, I love this shot, by the way, where Worf looks like he's just like,
No, and he's all like, he's all playing good cop to Raffi's bad cop, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, and then Raffi with the drugs here, just like acting like, oh yeah, this is sweet stuff here for you. And the thing is that he is so he's just like losing it so bad, and she just thinks it's the withdrawals.
I knew something was up when they distorted his voice a couple times.
When I watched this episode, this part is the second time, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of, do you remember the first Men in Black movie where you've got the guy that owned the pawn shop, right? The alien, and you had both Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones in there. They're both trying to outdo each other bad guy wise. And
was that the guy from Monk? Was that him?
I think so. Yeah, Tony Shalhoub. And at the end, of course, Tommy Lee Jones out bad guys him because he knows what's actually going on, and Will Smith didn't. And Will Smith is like, I'll be back later to talk about them Rolexes. It's like he's trying to get it. That's what this kind of reminded me of, was that Worf knew what was going on. Raffi didn't. She only thought she did. And it seems like this. I actually kind of think it's neat that the Worf character is sort of elevating Raffi. I'm actually starting to like Raffi.
Oh no, that's what everybody who's seen it, all of these says that like Worf is her redemption. But yeah,
and SVS Guru. So
I was
SVS
gonna
Guru, did you just switch countries? Because now instead of €5, you're giving $5.
Super chat.
What did you just fly across the Atlantic?
No, they probably gave him the option to convert to so you get the
that
money.
was just weird. But thank you. It's great that they remembered the changeling turned into liquid and not sand, like on Star Trek Discovery. Wow.
Star Trek Discovery had changelings?
No.
Oh.
Now this also
See,
explains
shit like that is why I don't want to watch season 3 with you. Man.
This also explains the line in the first or second episode. I can't remember which one it was. First episode, where they find the ash, where they find the ash of the people that Beverly disintegrated, and they said, "Have you ever seen ash like that before?" And they said no, and of course those two wouldn't, because they never fought the changelings, never disintegrated a changeling before. So, yeah.
But now that assumes that the Birdmen are all
true.
changelings.
That does.
Right.
That does.
Well, yeah, I love this little like.
And believe me, I was thinking about it too, because when
staring into
when they vape the pile.
Yeah, you look at her staring into his eyes, and he's staring right back into hers, and just they look so intensely at each other.
Mm-hmm.
This was just great stuff. Then we cut back to Jack Crusher, who is not doing well.
Now this was weird.
Yeah, and then but he has a hallucination about Seven, and
that veiny thing behind him.
Yeah,
I played that back, and the dream says connect the branches.
Yes, and this has been the podcast guys say this is foreshadowing to something. So,
well, yeah, there's a red door too, and I'm
yeah.
It's the Spore Network.
Oh, shush.
I hope not. I hope not.
And
if the last episode is Spore Drive, I'm gonna just flush my computer.
And then the real Seven rescues, and then here's the next meme right here. I'm calling it right now. This is the next Star Trek meme right here.
I'm telling you, pause on digital video is a blessing and a curse, because you can get yourself any ugly face you ever want from anybody.
Yep. No speculation on what that foreshadowing was, though, huh?
I don't have a clue. Because for me, it felt like it came way too far out of left field.
Yeah. And why is it Seven? And that veiny thing behind her is...
Yeah, it's
weird.
It's so vague that it could be anything.
I almost thought it was like the wormhole aliens, because but because they like to talk to you through other people that you know.
Don't you mean the prophets?
Yeah. Whatever. And
the only thing with them, though,
they're
so out of time and vague and weird, like even more than that.
Right. So, it wasn't like how whenever people on Deep Space Nine would talk to the prophets, it was always the rest of the cast would be talking, as them. But the veiny thing, the red door, I don't.
Speaking of veiny, to compare this to the last pause, this would be somebody getting set up for somebody that speaks really deep. So let's go to the next still, please.
So, this is actually, I mean, all kidding aside, this I paused this right when this is right after Dr. Crusher reports that Jack had been injured, and this is him going, "Go!"
Yeah,
that's why he's like that.
Yeah,
and so this is the 17 seconds right here.
Right.
So this is Picard's 17 seconds in the turbo lift. And the flat line where everybody was really, really worried that Jack Crusher was dead, because I'm sure that all of you guys on the panel were really, really worried that Jack Crusher was really dead, right?
No, I was.
Oh,
hoping-
that
I was.
was-
I was.
In this show, I mean, I was surprised when they killed Maddox in the so early on in Picard season 2, so 1 rather. So I thought maybe it's a possibility, but yeah, I thought it was an interesting idea.
I was actually hoping they had the balls to kill him.
Yeah, for a moment I thought they might.
And then bring him back, like revive him.
That's what I was trying to say. Is I was actually rooting for him to die in this scene because I knew he wouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I actually liked him as a character.
Yeah.
And
but I thought they were gonna, like refrigerate him. You know what I mean? Like they were gonna use his death as some kind of motivation type of thing. Or I didn't really think that, but that's kind of was like,
right.
I
had mixed feelings. So I was like, if they actually kill him, then I was gonna actually get. I was mixed because on the one hand I would say, oh wow, they actually had the balls to kill him, a good character. But then I was gonna be like, it's just going to be another freaking Star Trek 2 thing.
Right.
Because
you're clearly you killed my son.
Yeah.
So who was the we know that Geordie LaForge's daughter is
one of his daughters,
or whatever, the one that we've met is the pilot. Who's the Bajoran dude? Do we know? Is he related to anybody? He kind of looks like a cross between Harry Kim and some hot Bajoran. Will we get this person's name yet?
Maybe Harry Kim and Dax got together.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
maybe it's a really big universe and they're totally not related at all.
No shit. But since there's another relative, thought it might be another Roddenberry.
Yeah. Everybody thinks that Sydney is played by LeVar Burton's daughter. That's not LeVar Burton's daughter. We haven't.
No, she's another character.
Yeah, we haven't actually seen LeVar Burton's daughter yet on the
so
show. She
amazingly, he comes back to life after being dead for 10 seconds, and then back to the interrogation scene. Rafi looks pure psycho right here. I mean, right there, she scares the bejesus out of me.
Ex-wife mode, totally.
Yeah. So, do you think Worf was always going to be the good cop, or do you think he let her go first so he could figure out what role to play?
No, I think that Rafi was just straight up psycho.
Well, yeah, she was so over the top. There was no way Worf could also be a bad guy, or bad cop, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is interesting to have him be the one that's
I think Worf is pure. Yeah, Worf in this is pure Zen. There was no way he was going to be a bad cop.
Yeah, but
beheadings are on Wednesdays.
Yeah,
I think he would be very simple. He'd be like, there is no fight worth suffering for, so I will simply behead you if you don't give me the information.
Well, it's a changeling. I don't think that would matter, would it?
You know what he reminds me of in this episode? If the cast of TNG were the Justice League, Worf would definitely be Batman here. And I think this is what it reminded me of it. I don't know how many of you guys have read Grant Morrison's old JLA run, but there was this scene where these mysterious alien superheroes called the Hyper Clan took over, and started winning favor against the Justice League in the eyes of the public. And both Batman and Superman figured out in their own way at the same time in two different parts of the world who they were actually fighting. The Hyper Clan turned out to be the White Martians, who are shapeshifters. And that's what this sort of reminded me of, how this was constructed, where Worf exposes, who we were actually dealing with, and then Jack Crusher over on the Titan also, has figured it out. And it's kind of a stretch, but yeah.
Now, my favorite Rafi line came when this guy looked like this, which is, that ain't withdrawal.
No shit.
I love that. That was awesome.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
If they can continue to improve her lines, because I really could not put up with her character in season 1.
Yeah,
I'm really starting to be able to be fine with her character, and I find that having her work with Dorn here works better. than the first two episodes. And honestly, that could come down to direction too, because we all slag off actors and actresses sometimes, but the director controls so much of this,
right?
Oh,
And,
yeah. Go ahead, Danny.
I forgot.
Okay.
That's all it takes.
I was going to say, I've said this before, but a lot of people say, "Oh, this actor's great, that actor's bad," but it really boils down to the director. A director pulls out a great performance or a poor performance out of an actor, and so this is where Frakes, shines.
Yeah, and Frakes in an interview, and I'll share the interview with you after the show if you want, says that Patrick Stewart is absolutely putty. He's that kind of an actor. He's putty in the hands of the director. So if you get him and you're not a good director, or don't know what, understand the character, you're going to get a mediocre product, which is what we've gotten prior to this, on the show. That made total sense to me, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but that also means that when you get a scene like where the fact that Picard and Riker are out of character on the bridge, you got to blame the director.
Unless Darren is right, and this is a performance.
That was just a guess, a possibility.
That is a possibility, and if that's the case,
I didn't even think about it.
Props,
so,
if that is the case, props. We'll see. Hopefully, in the next
see how that folds out.
Yeah.
And thank you, Captain Morani, for another $20 super chat.
Super chat
says, not sarcasm. Props to Dork Knight's mom. Have to smile when parents and their sons share interests. Also, great stream. Finally caught from the straw. Moroni. Captain Moroni. Captain Moroni. Sorry. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain
Moroni. Captain Moroni.
Moroni. Well, thank you, man. No, I love my mom. I'm a mama's boy. Everybody knows that.
I will say this is that I obviously give Danny a lot of guff on the shows. But part of it is because, and Danny will vouch for this, I'm always trying to make him a better person, so I give him a hard time.
No, I know. And I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you.
But
it is a little weird you have an offline relationship with my mom and my fiance, though. I mean,
one thing I do respect Danny for a lot, and I've told this to him, is that I love the fact that he has a great and close relationship with his mom. And that his mom follows him on his live she's always here on my live streams because he's always here on my live streams. And that's awesome. Everywhere he goes on YouTube, she's always around too, and I think that's great. So
thank you, man. No, I couldn't pay my dad to watch one of my YouTube shows. I've asked him several times. I guess he's like, what's a YouTube? I'm like, oh wow, okay, Dad, all right.
Yeah, and sure, I think that's the coolest thing. So, that's really, really awesome. So,
no, and I don't take it for granted. When I was my second ex-wife, Stacy, when she got the terrible news that her father died, we were married, and we were like at the beginning of the marriage, so like super happy. And oh my God, I felt
stay on target.
No.
Stay on target.
No, you're right. Okay, it's fine.
It's a $20 super chat, so we can spend a minute on it. But
we'll earn the 20, right?
Yeah. But thank you so much, Captain Moroni.
Thank you, man. No, that means a lot. I'm sorry. I guess if that meant I misinterpreted. It's like the problem with text messages and in communicating in text. So you can't tell if there's sarcasm or
you have to learn the person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back
to this scene where he asked him how long he'd been out of the Great Link, and I'm like, what did he say? And I actually stepped it back and then put the closed captioning on Great Link, and I'm like, so
this when you realize he was
the first second he said,
because you're not expecting.
I was like,
you're not expecting the changelings in a show that's supposed to be about the TNG crew's final thing, because again, they never really.
Why not?
They never fought the changelings directly. They never
exactly.
As far as we know, they didn't. Canonically, I don't think they ever even really participated in the Dominion War. I mean, insurrection was as close to as they got.
Even better. Even better. Let's.
So now the fans understand the villain and the fans understand the hero characters, but they know that this is the first time some of these interactions are going to happen. That's what's really kind of special.
Yeah, but you know what? There's that layer for us geeks, but there's also this whole new generation. I know people in real life that like seasons 1 and 2 of Picard. And they're much, much younger, and they're the same people that like The Last Jedi. And I just think there's some just type of weird point of view that certain people have. And I wonder if those people like what they're seeing of season 3 so far, because they don't know what changelings are. They didn't get excited like me, when all he had to say was the link, and I was just like, oh, God. I said the value. I was like,
a lot of that comes from these younger people thinking that this is supposed to be their Star Trek. This was made for them, and the other stuff that we like was made for us. I think that has something to do with it on some level.
Well, that just means they had shitty parents, because obviously, my mom, she raised me on Star Trek. I raised my kids on Star Trek. My son knows the difference. My 24-year-old,
all
he knows the difference between
some level of Star Trek. Otherwise, that's just child abuse.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's keep going. Otherwise, we're gonna be here all night. So we get the Great Wharf line. Then we cut back here, and we have Mr. Not Suspicious at All going into engineering.
Where'd you get
happen? I don't know.
Okay, you went backwards.
You're going backwards, bro.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not sure what happened there.
All right, so here's Jack being rushed to the table to be defibrillated.
Something got messed up in the order here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so now here we've got more of it's not working. What you're trying to do is not working.
You know what bothered me about this? I want to get your guys' opinion. Is Picard was dressing him down in front of everybody. He didn't be like, hey, let's go to the captain's ready room, or let's go to he didn't pull him off. And that was bothering me, especially by the third time he did it. And that's why it really bothered me when Riker finally gave in and did what Picard said to do, because it made him look like a cuck. It's like, it just.
There's your favorite word again.
Yeah, but that happening though, Danny, that actually drove the nail home harder when Riker absolutely lost it after they were drifting. I mean, and
you just killed all these people.
Unlike frustrations over Krakatoris being in things, sometimes an unpleasant
Croc, not crack.
Krakatoris. Yeah, well, I got to watch out for that Canadian-ism.
Oh yeah, that's right. My bad. I keep forgetting you're Canadian.
Yeah.
I don't forget every time he says the outs symbol.
The out has a hard difference. Yeah.
Oh, I know. It's like, Canadian. You sounded like the kids on Nickelodeon.
He could be from Minnesota. People from Minnesota sound Canadian. Hey.
No, being in the Navy would have got to play with the few boats that we have enough that he'd recognize the voice if he was ever on comms.
I just watched a lot of Nickelodeon when I was a kid, and most of the programs came from Canada.
So sometimes you got to take a stinging scene where you don't like how the interaction went, because it actually builds into something and it's not contrived.
Right. No, that's why I was disagreeing earlier. But I never thought they could be putting on a show. I felt like Riker's, I don't know what you would call it, not outburst, but Riker telling Picard to get the hell off the bridge was because he was mad at. I think it was he was mad at himself for not doing whatever he wanted to do, and I don't know. That's kind of how I was getting it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. Because ultimately the captain is responsible. And here's the other thing too: when they're just friends on this ship, with no actual responsibility, they're one way. But when all of a sudden Riker has a responsibility to captain, he immediately
because
becomes,
Picard was so used to Riker listening to him. And that's what I loved about this conflict. It was because this is the first time we as an audience got to see their relationship from the point of view where it was Riker who gave the orders, not Picard. And Picard just wasn't registering that. And he was like I said, disrespecting him in front of his bridge crew. That's why I really do hope this is a performance, because that will excuse some of the things I didn't like. Because the things I didn't like about this was how Picard talked to Will on the bridge in front of all the crew, instead of taking him off to the ready room or whatever, Captain's Lounge, whatever that thing was called.
If it turns out to be just that Picard was out of his gourd because he has a son now and he's dealing with emotions he hasn't had to deal with before, that'll work, but it's not as good as what I thought was hoping it would be. That would be, that's probably, to me, that what you just said, that's the route. Like your other theory never entered my head. The whole time I thought that's what it was. So, and I like your idea better. So, I
don't know what happened in the last two pictures. So I apologize, but basically all we're missing is explosion, firing the 4 torpedoes, which represents everything, portal gun, dropping the 4 torpedoes on the back of the ship, falling into the heart.
Whoa! You don't have any more clips for us to look at? Because I wanted to see that.
That may have been everything they could do at that moment. It may not be like, I mean, obviously the Titan's been taking damage this whole time. It wouldn't surprise me if they don't have, like, if they don't have phasers. That's why they've been relying on torpedoes this whole time, from except for when you use one to detonate it, that kind of thing. But in classic, I shouldn't say classic, and ever since the TMP era, the phasers have been tied into the warp power, right? They don't have phaser banks anymore.
Right.
So if they can't go to warp, maybe they don't have
pivotal.
phasers.
That was that pivotal moment between Deckard and Kirk in the motion picture.
Right,
so
right.
Can I share my screen?
In the old series, they would charge up the phaser banks with main power. And then once the bank was charged, you could fire that phaser and deplete the bank any time you wanted. But in the new redesign, since you can't fire phasers at warp anyway, except on an Enterprise they did, you might as well just channel it directly from the warp engines. So that was interesting stuff. Oh, you guys like playing it. Yeah, there's the 4 torpedoes.
Yeah. Which is the exact same.
Now watch. So I wanted to ask you guys specifically about this, because this is not how this portal has worked other times, or maybe it is because they're just torpedoes. But watch this. As soon as they go through, second last one's done. Boom, the portal closes.
Yeah.
And then the portal opens, and then they get shot. And I'm like, wait a minute.
No, it happened just like that before.
Did it?
It actually happened like that on the planet too, at the building.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean that the weird thing was earlier when
look at that. I got a perfect pause. You see the shilding that we were talking about,
where they showed both sides of the ship at once, and that one shot in front of the where it's going in and out of the portal.
Playing it.
No, I was done. That's why.
Did you get the scold from hell already?
Yeah.
What? No, I didn't. I no sound. I paused it a lot.
No, they'll.
Yeah, they don't.
You were probably fine. I think 5 seconds at a time they'd be fine.
And it was in low quality, kind of blurry. I mean, even their.
You have no idea, man. You have no idea.
No, I kind of do actually.
So that whole portal activity, I think. As much as we had fun putting this little background portal to,
there's only one outfit, Star Trek outfit that's more draconian than Paramount, and that's Neon Visuals.
So hey, but you guys, all of you were talking over each other. So Jason, what were you trying to say? Do you even remember? And then after that, Michael was talking over you.
I was trying to get us back on target
Okay.
And
what were you trying to
it's
say?
crazy because of all the conference calls I sit on, I actually picked up all the things that were going on. Yeah, so I was talking about how I really enjoy having the Portal stuff in this, even though it feels like, Portal to Star Trek Boogaloo. I do really like it. It's kind of an interesting MacGuffin of sorts that turns out to not be the main MacGuffin.
Yeah, what could be worse? What could be worse? Do you guys have any ideas?
It's either they either got Lore, who is disassembled. He might have been at the Daystrom Institute, or possibly
he was at the Daystrom Institute. They showed us his parts in.
No, that was B4.
Well, that was B4. Sorry.
Yeah. So it's either Lore or it's Moriarty, because in my opinion, because we know
be B4's parts with Lore's, memories or whatever. Because basically, that's all Data tried to do, was overwrite the person who was B4 with his memories at the end of Nemesis. So
we'll call him B Lore.
B Lore. There you go. There you go.
But
so did you guys notice any of
issues.
the Easter eggs in the? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
As I say, I got no issues other than my with this whole show, other than my less than happiness with the Doctor interactions. I thought that was a little dumb.
That didn't bother me. If I'd have been here and not been so sensitive, I would have said she's just a bitch, and sometimes bitches are just bitches. So I didn't look into it too much. So hey, let's 1 out of 10, guys. Who wants to go first?
1 out of 10.
That's what we did. That's what we've done last.
I know, but 1 out of 10 is pretty low.
1 to 10.
No, I'm right? 1 to 10. I meant, thank you. 1 to 10. 1 to 10. Not 1 out. Yeah, 1 to 10.
Well, first of all, I want to answer Brian's question. Would another race's photon torpedoes be the same strength as Starfleet's torpedoes? Who knows? A photon torpedo is basically an antimatter bomb, which is like ridiculously powerful when you think about it.
You guys, for example, I always got the impression that the Klingon torpedoes were somehow bigger and probably packed more of a wallop than the Federation ones.
Hey guys, I want to say this to everybody watching, everybody in the live chat, and everybody on the panel. This is a question I've been asked over and over again as a fan of wrestling. You guys know this isn't real, right?
Yeah,
that's immaterial.
Yeah,
you're arguing about this shit like it's real.
That's crazy.
That's exactly how writers think.
What are you talking about?
I'm just trying to wrap this stream up.
What you just said was a non-statement. This is what happens when a normie walks into a comic book shop the first time and hears a bunch of geeks talking about the latest comic book storylines.
Like whether Superman can lift up a planet or something.
And then you know he's not real, right? Yeah.
So how do you think I feel every time somebody says to me, wrestling's not real, right? That's
nobody
I was trying to make.
Well, okay, okay. You have my pity. I mean, what
how about here? No? It would be empathy because you can relate. It's sympathy when you cannot. So maybe some empathy.
Yeah. It's
I do like
if people start.
I do like your mustache.
It's very Chuck Norris-y now.
I was gonna say Cuck Norris, but yeah, it's very
because that's his favorite word.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I know that mustache is
very
Magnum PI mustache for me.
That is very Magnum PI. That's almost Sam Elliott mustache.
Oh, that guy's got the most epic mustache.
Yeah. He gets two salaries. He gets one paycheck and his friggin' mustache gets the other.
Yeah. That mustache will get royalties for 100 years.
Martin Devon says, "It is real. Star Wars is not. It being Star Trek." So that was good.
Oh, well, that's going to help me actually think of a funny name for the shows.
That's like why I posted the GIF from Galaxy Quest where it's I think his name's Jason Long because he's the kid. He was like, hey, I know it's not real. And it's like, and then Taggart,
it's totally real.
He's like, I knew it. So I had that GIF that was like, I knew it.
Mm-hmm.
And see, again, a movie made by normies, they think that's, I just kind of circled my eyes when I saw that in the theater, that little part, because it's like, okay, yeah, the normies we think it's real.
Yeah.
You know, and
well, I was just saying that to like Martin Devon. I was just saying, I was just saying because of what Martin Devon said, I wish I could have shared that GIF with him. You know, because
but I mean, you know, writers in particular, and people who want to be writers, they have to think of it as if it's a real thing, because otherwise, they can't make it real.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, if you don't start thinking about the difference between a photon and a quantum torpedo, then it's not going to work.
Jesus effing.
I would just find something else to nerd out about.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, which is fine. I was just trying to
nerd out about.
No, I know you're trying to wrap it. Yeah, we need to wrap. We need to.
All right. So you're done 1 out of 10. So Jason, what's your score on this one?
I'm going with a solid 8 on this.
Wow, pretty solid. All right.
Yeah.
All right, Danny.
8.5.
8.5. What was this? Is that your highest one? That's your highest.
Yes, it's my highest one. Yeah. Yep. This was my favorite
I know
episode.
It's your highest, Jason, so far.
Yeah, this is my favorite episode so far. And
all right,
supposedly,
Darren, what would you give this 1 out of 10?
I'm gonna agree with Danny. 8.5 for me as well.
8.5.
The other two are 8s.
Actually, you know what? I did really enjoy this episode. I guess I'm going to give this one a solid 7, which is my highest score so far as well. So
no, you're being a little more conservative. I like it. They'll get higher as the season goes on.
7 is a solid episode for me.
Yeah.
So
I'll even reach into yesterday's show and pull Danny's retroactive subjectivity score system here.
Yeah,
and I'll even say that the last episode for me jumps to a 7 for sure.
Yeah. See, it's the thing. You get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's like part of it will now.
Michael, let Jason finish his thought. Michael, you're the Jason.
I want to because I have to go, and I'll just talk forever if I go on to the subject.
Okay, since Thomas could go up if it turns out that the Picard Riker conversation was in fact some kind of ruse, you know, like what Darren was suggesting. If that's the case,
then you would retroactively make this one better, and I
would make this one like a 7.5 maybe.
Okay,
but I would say if the Riker, if they double down on the Riker on the Riker Picard thing, it could drive this one down a little bit.
Oh, okay. So we got to see what happens.
Thomas Potts called us shills. That reminds me, Paramount, send the check to Ice Station Zebra and Associates. It's my own little thing, LLC. I have it only for tax purposes. Okay. Right.
Look, man, whoever called us shills, look. If you've watched Mike and I for
that's just Thomas.
No, we talked.
He works for the dark side.
We've discussed Orville together. We've discussed Star Trek Discovery, sadly, together until I just gave up. We've discussed.
Don't worry, we're gonna watch season 5.
Yeah, you sucker. The Picard. We've watched Strange New Worlds. We've watched all of this stuff, and we did a Prodigy. I don't remember if we did Lower Decks, but I watched Lower Decks. He'll have to remind me. But like we covered all things Star Trek, and we're just honest. We're not shills, man. Like I hate Discovery so much. I'm like, he and I are probably gonna like yell at each other when we're not live on air because I do not like. I don't think he understands. I don't want to watch it. I really don't. Like, you know.
The interesting.
I am absolutely not a shill.
Yeah,
I am not a shill at all. No way. I am not a shill.
Hey,
that's been off duty for a while.
Look, just because we like Lower Decks and Strange New Worlds in season 3 of Picard doesn't make us shills. We hold all the other shows to account. You know, like
I think this show in particular, Picard season 3, is proving to be a litmus test for the so-called fandom menace. You're finding out who are actually.
Who's really Star Trek fans like Nerdrotic, and who's just trying to make money? Who is negative like Doomcock?
Who is honest with themselves, and because if you're constantly bitching, but you don't recognize when they have made improvements, however small you think they might be, that erodes your credibility. And
does it though? Because like
Yeah.
it's all a money thing. Because no, I had a very lengthy conversation about this the other day. Even if Picard season 3 is the greatest thing since sliced bread, there's no way Doomcock's going to admit it, because he always has to cater to the haters, because that's where his bread is buttered. That's how he makes his money.
He's got to start losing subs before he'll change his business model.
Exactly, and he's not, because there's more haters for some
I
reason.
don't know. And I think without going too deep into the subject I wanted to avoid.
Yeah.
Look, Nerdrotic thinks the show is great.
Yeah, exactly.
Drinker thinks this show is great. They've both seen the thing all the way through, the podcast.
Yeah.
And again, to totally not fall down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
What we were talking about a couple times yesterday and last week is, if you get to watch these types of shows in their totality, it really, and all at once, even within it, even if it's 3 days to watch them all. Hey, CZ, it really changes how the show delivers itself to you.
Yeah.
And for me, the go-to that I will always fall onto now is first 4 episodes of first season, The Expanse, are a you must watch all at once.
Dude.
Because I know for me, when I watched that show for the first time, first 2 episodes, I was like, what in the world is this show? And then when I got to the end of the 4th episode, that it was like, it was very much like this episode.
Andor, it was kind of like that. This has been kind of like that. I wonder if there's, I mean,
I think they need to go back to just full releases. I think it would help a lot better. I think it would let the editors understand how to do this better too.
If it's not going to be, the only thing, okay, so if it's episodic, don't drop it all at once. But if it's like everything nowadays, for some reason, if it's a season long, if it's a season long or serialized, then drop it all at once, man. Like, come on. Like,
I do appreciate how this and Strange New Worlds are filmed as if eventually this is going to air on television. There's got to be commercial breaks.
Yeah. They both do. They do the little. You know why though? Because there are. This is why I canceled my. No, this is why I canceled my Paramount Plus. I was bitching about this on Twitter the other day or last week. So I go to watch Picard. Or no, maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks? Yeah, it was.
Because you have the cheap membership, there are commercials.
Gotcha. Didn't know that. See, if I'm gonna, I'll kick in an extra $2 or $3 a month. Just
calling me cheap? No, it's not. It's more than that, buddy.
It's a lot more
than that.
It's like,
but I like that they kept that format.
But if you have there's the
well, it's more than double.
I actually, as a side note,
that's why I got rid of it. I was like, fuck it.
Those commercial cuts, Darren, I found were weird. They didn't cut properly for me, especially if you go back and you watch the first episode again and you watch if you watch it straight without the commercials, for me, because I was watching it on a full premium service, it trailed weird. Like it was like the audio edit and then the switch to scene. It caught me every single time it happened. And it caught me even in this episode a couple times. So I don't know. The editing is weird.
So they didn't fade cut. They just hard cut to commercial.
They just hard cut. Yeah, it was it was very weird. So the music changed quickly. Everything just shifted strange.
It cuts to black and then it comes back on. It is a little jarring at a couple of points.
Yeah.
But to me, it's better than having to listen to commercials.
Dude. Yeah. I mean, no. Well, I found another way to watch it. That's all.
Stan Lee doesn't like widescreen.
I don't believe in breaking the law.
I'm not breaking the law. Please, I don't want to get on this. Dude. Okay, we all gave our scores, right?
Yeah,
I did.
I gotta go, or I gotta get another message asking where I am.
All right. So, with that, guys, thank you for watching. Remember, you are the salt of the earth.
Live long.
This is the nerdy panel today. Thank you to. Oh, there goes Danny because he's just
he's got to go
abandoning ship like that. But thank you to Danny. Thank you to Hugo.
Hugo Stiglitz. Say goodbye to your Nazi balls.
Really, you gotta put that on there. Are you just trying to get me in trouble?
Oh yeah, maybe.
No. and Jason and wow, and I'm the salty trekker.